pod here. Enjoy some great alerts. We'll have a grand old time here watching Epic Realms tonight. We love it when we come here. We clip all of the screens. The chat gets kind of trolly on Epic Realms scenes. But that's an awesome part of the Epic family. So let's enjoy the show now and start another hype train. We'll see the spicy chips fly on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, epicational. This is what we call the Epic Show.
Hello, friends and enemies, heroes and villains. Welcome to Epic Realms Presents Off the Pod. It's not a podcast, kind of podcast, sort of a podcast, but not really. It's not a podcast. But welcome on in, everybody. Thank you for being here. There we go. Look at that. Roddy Mama coming in at a tier 1 sub. My guest today is the one, the only Bentleigh13.
Hello, everybody. I am doing well. I'm glad that I'm feeling better-ish enough to be here.
You haven't coughed once yet since I've been on the meeting with you. So
I've coughed a couple times.
Okay, I haven't seen.
I just muted. I muted it. So I just have a little touch button up here.
Touch it.
So I can I just touch it
just to see how.
I just touch it and it does what I need.
But we are glad you're feeling better. So thank you for being able to join me. I was a little worried the last week when I heard you. I was like, oh, is she going to be able to do this?
Yeah.
Well, she'll tell me. She'll tell me if she doesn't think she can.
I would have still done it. I still would have done it.
God damn you. Take care of yourself.
I don't cancel on people. Like if I'm scheduled to be somewhere, I don't like to cancel unless I absolutely have to.
Take care of yourself, damn it.
So I would have been here no matter
what. Don't follow Bentley's bad example. Bentley's bad example.
I'm a responsible adult, and that's what you do as a responsible adult.
No, you take care of yourself as a responsible adult. Welcome on in, everybody. Hello, Katie. Officially and unofficially. Officially and unofficially first.
Well, technically.
Supernatural writers in here. Redneck Jedi given the humps, but spelled wrong as usual. Ash Husky, welcome on in. Emmy Kiko, oh my god, I love steak. Hello. Roddy Mama, of course, with that tier 1 sub. Welcome in. Thank you for being here, everybody. Today is the final day of the month of paranormal on Epic Realms. We started off with Dakabera. We had Miso Thorny on here. We did a jump scare stream. We did a paranormal news stream. We had the Beer City Bruiser on, who's also a co-host of Darkness Radio. We had all kinds of stuff, and we're closing it off with the one and only Bentleigh13.
That's right. I'm the only way you can finish things off.
We got to
You're
finish
welcome.
That's how we finish.
Hello,
Steven is here too. Hello, Steven the Shark.
Is he though?
He could
I'm
be
not
here.
dressed like a field hockey mom. You might be.
I'm dressed like a field hockey lumberjack, I think. And you know us lumberjacks, we all bunk together, so.
That's right.
So come on over, Steven. I got a bunk just for you.
Oh my God. And he doesn't mind sharing his pants, I heard.
I hear that too. I hear that. So yeah, welcome on in, guys. Again, Off the Pod is an interactive show, so if you want to interact, we can hear all the alerts. All the sound alerts are turned on. We're going to do our best to keep an eye on chat. If you want to have comments or say something in regards to what we're talking about, every single topic tonight is paranormal related.
Yes.
So
I'm excited.
So I know when we started with Daku, we kind of had a little paranormal, but a little regular Off the Pod. Miso was about 50-50. Holy crap. I don't even know what balls I have. That didn't come out right. Never mind.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. Thanks, Roddy.
I really thought that I would, I was like, oh, everybody did a little bit of paranormal, but no one went completely paranormal. So I was like, we're going to end the month strong with nothing but paranormal. So I was like, I could have done other things, right? But paranormal, I was like, let's wrap it up in the best way we can with all the paranormal things. And I have my paranormal well, kind of paranormal cup. So I got their little Day of the Dead cup. I stole it from Nugget.
I have new
has
spicy. So by the way, guys, I do have the remaining crumbs of the ghost pepper chips, but my wife, because we couldn't find it because they don't sell it at our store anymore, so my wife ended up getting these. So hopefully these are not as hot, but I have a feeling they're gonna be worse. They look worse. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
They look just fine. What do you mean?
You guys also may remember a little housekeeping note. For my birthday, I got a little thing where every time I hit 18 new followers, I got to have some of this. It's an 18-year rum from my friend Zine, and he said 18-year rum, every 18 followers, I get to have a drink. And guess what, guys? Guess what happened this weekend during
what
Off
happened
the Pod?
this week?
Paranormal
what
Off the
happened
Pod.
during that
Actually, it was
crazy ass show?
The Forbidden Off the Pod. It was the Forbidden Off the Pod. We hit that number, so I am gonna pour myself. I have to measure them out so I don't like over pour or under pour, because I got to make sure to maintain the quantity that is in that bottle of rum. So to all of you who have followed recently and have been following here from the beginning and have not unfollowed, cheers.
Cheers.
Yo, I'm 20 light. We're just getting started, Jax. We're just getting started.
We haven't even. We had 10 minutes of intro. You're fine.
Yeah. And the timer's we're just doing the intro. We're just chatting. We're just catching up. And of course, Bentleigh's you're gonna be streaming tomorrow, correct? Tomorrow evening.
Yeah,
you're gonna be doing
tomorrow
Drunk
evening.
by Daylight.
Yes, we're going to be doing a 4-person co-stream tomorrow. Nothing like coming back from being sick with a bang. I'm going to be doing a 4-person Drunk by Daylight tomorrow. So keeping up that like paranormal horror theme going. And then Wednesday, so I haven't said anything about it yet, but potentially Wednesday, if I have some time after my pupper's appointment and it's not too late, we might do something. We'll see. There might be something extra this week if I have the time. So if you're in the know, you'll know.
And I'm not in the know, so at least not yet. I'm not.
Not yet. You'll find out.
Will I though?
So potentially either Wednesday or Thursday. I might family's not coming in until late on Thursday, so I might have some time Thursday to kind of do a little
something.
A little short, little something, maybe a little hollow night for everybody. We'll see.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. Well, without further ado, guys, like I said, we have paranormal talking all night. You can see below me what the first topic is going to be. And again, you guys can weigh in on what we have to say. You can weigh in on your own thoughts, your own experiences, stuff like that. And we'll try to get to it. And of course, when the timer is up, we'll catch up on chat if we didn't get your stuff. So yes. Please, hang out, chat with us, and enjoy the conversation, because we both have some crazy experiences here. So
yes, please share your experiences. I would love to hear what you guys have experienced in your lifetime, or some people haven't experienced it yet. I know Misa Thorny says she hasn't experienced anything, but she would love to, and just come live with me. It'll be fine.
Nice. The Supernatural Writer says Hollow Knight is so much fun. So
it is fun. It is fun. I really enjoy that game. It is. It makes me ragey, but I enjoy that game so much.
Jack says, if it helps, I keep thinking I'm seeing a shadowy figure at night. Yeah, shadow people are a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That is a whole thing. They're called. Does it look like they have? Here's the question, though. Here's the question, because there's distinctions. Before we even get started, there's distinctions. Yeah. Is it or is it not wearing a hat? Because there is the shadow people, and then there are the hat people, which are shadow people with hats, and they always have these wide brimmed hats. And usually the shadow people with hats also often, not always, but often have red glowing eyes. Yeah. If I see that stuff, I just look at it and roll over. All right, guys. So we all know we can just hang out in Supernatural Writer's room as long as we look like a shadow, because she'll just roll over
Yeah,
and
she'll just roll
ignore
over.
us.
It'll be fine. That's my N. I finally got it. I finally got my N. I'm gonna wear all black
Yep.
and just show up as a shadow. Supernatural
Yeah,
Writer's
we're just gonna
house.
sit there at the end of Super's bed and be like, all creepy like. Literally, it happens often enough. Oh, so she sees some stuff too, it looks like, but just ignores it.
Yeah.
Just ignores
I
it.
mean, that is one way to do it, right? If you don't give it attention,
Yeah.
it has nothing to feed off of. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that just ignore the things that have happened to them.
Yeah. Or they logic them away.
Yeah.
Jack says, no, hell no. If that was a thing, I'd assume the red-faced demon from Insidious. If that be the case, I'm locking myself in my own spot in the loony bin. And he also says that it might be electronically induced. Electronically induced psychosis, which is the
that
we
is
don't
a
know.
possibility.
Anything's possible.
Anything that is a possibility.
It's when multiple people see the
sure.
same thing in the same location at the same time that it's like, well, that's not, it can't necessarily be a psychosis if you're seeing the exact same thing.
If you're all seeing the same thing, then y'all are on some strong drugs together.
Yeah. So Bentley and I both have this background where we both grew up with the paranormal things throughout our life, in homes we've lived in places we've been at, family members that have experienced things. Myself, I think I've been in at least 2 houses. One I know for sure had something going on, and another one I was fairly three. I just remembered. I was like, crap, I forget about the place with the freaking ball lightnings and the moving people and the all the other stuff. So I've had 3 houses that one was really young. That one I was really young. But yeah, kind of my elementary school area in the middle there, I had one house that I was certain that there were others that were there. I know, Bentley, you said you've had some stuff. Did you have stuff growing up, or was it after you became an adult?
Yeah, no, I had stuff growing up and as an adult. So I don't remember anything when I was super young. So like in my very first childhood home, there wasn't much that I remember about that. But in the house I spent a good portion of my life in, we definitely had a ghost that housed in my room, and is still there to this day. And as I moved around, like the other 2 homes, the one that I'm in now and the one that was previous before this, all had some sort of paranormal something that happened. The only place that I've experienced can't say the only place. The last place that I lived in had the most shadow people. None of them were hat wearers, by the way. They were just shadow people. Okay, no hat wearers. And same here.
Jenny
There's
B,
only been like
in.
a couple of shadow people here, but not as many as the other location. Hi, Jenny B. Hello. Gotta toss that in there.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it with that southern accent that Octavius uses whenever she's in. Hello, Jenny B.
Jenny B.
Jenny B.
Hello, Jenny B. We love you.
We loves you.
We loves you, Jenny B. But yeah, so in my childhood home, so there was one ghost that kind of just ran around. I had some visitations from deceased relatives, like my great grandmother would come and visit from time to time and check up on me. But to this day, I still don't know, like never seen, like it hasn't appeared in any physical sense, but it has messed with a lot of things. So I don't know. I get the sense and the feeling that it is a he. But he lives in the corner of my bedroom. And both me at my old house, both me and my son, who also had that same room when he was younger, have experienced this entity there. And I never told him about it. He just knew that it was there. But this ghost would mess with, like, our microwave would pop open, turn on randomly. It would mess with the refrigerator. It would open the front door. Never would leave. It would just open it. And we're like, if you're not going to leave, why open it? Do you just want that fresh breeze? But I had to throw away I remember this one. In the same corner, I used to have music boxes on a shelf, and one of them was a clown.
Oh
His
no.
head would
Nope,
move.
nope, 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 nope. No clown.
And one time in the middle of the night, its head started moving on its own. It had not been turned for a long time. So but I didn't think that was like, it could have been like it was like some extra like energy from being like turned and played with, but I never touched the music boxes up there. And it just started turning its head with no music sound, by the way. And I was like, well, that's a hard pass. That quickly was removed from the room. But
Was
you
it like
can't
a
put
was it like
anything-
a Ronald McDonald style clown, or was it like a marionette style clown?
It was more of like a marionette, so it had stars around its
Nope.
eyes.
Nope.
It had
Nope.
the big puffy
No.
white shirts and pants, and it had like designs all over the place. And it had a little like white hat with the little red ball at the end. So
No.
it's definitely
F that.
had. Yep. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh no, nope,
Nope.
we're not. I cannot.
You can't catch me
Look.
squaring up with that doll right knee. So
Right. Yep. So I was like, I cannot have that in here. And
I
yeah,
agree.
no.
Poltergeist is the first movie that really terrified me as a child.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So think that the marionette in that movie was what did it. So I've got nope,
Right?
nope,
Yeah,
nope. You
And
see
the
some
thing
no
that
emotes in the chat.
and just no. Hi Renfield, hello. No, Jax, I have a collection of them. I have a collection of peens. And they wear hats that may or may not be vaginas. It's fine.
May or may not.
May or might not be. And so, but yeah, so the thing I learned really quickly about this and about this particular ghost that lives in this is they like that particular corner. They don't really move too much around the room. They don't, they very rarely move around like the house and things like that. It takes a lot of energy for them to do things, but you also don't put anything in the corner that they stay in. And I had told my folks this. I was like, I went to go visit and there was stuff in the corner and I was like, we need to move this because you have a very unhappy entity right now. And they didn't listen. My son stayed in that room that night and he woke up with scratch marks all over his arms and his body. And my parents didn't have a cat. They used to have cats. They did not at this time have a cat that could have done any of this. The door was shut, all that stuff. So there was no way anything could have gotten to him. So, but as soon as they were like, okay, so they moved the boxes out just a little bit, from that corner, and there has been no problems since then. So he does not like things in his corner. Don't fuck with that spot. That's his. That's his. You're not gonna sleep with me tonight, Jenny B.
Nope. No sleeping after this show.
Nope.
I had there was a house I lived in when I was in high school, and we had all kinds of paranormal things. But one of the things that always got me was, and here's the thing: there were, like I said, there were multiple things in the house, and one of them was actually really like pleasant. And again, I'm teenage kid. I'd come home, and like there would be times where my mom would be gone for like a week.
Why is it always
Why
gone?
is the rum gone? My mom would be gone for like a week, so I'd be like the only one in the house. I'd leave and I'd come back and my bed would be made.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There are some things that do that. I unfortunately have not had that much of a positive entities around me. Usually I'm like, can you clean? That would be great. But no, they want to like trash my stuff. They want to knock things over. They want to mess with things.
They would, but I would come back. I'd come home sometimes also at the same time, and I'd come home. And so I had like, I don't want to say chairs. They weren't like recliner type chairs, but they also weren't like kitchen chairs that I used in my room. So they're like armrests or whatever, wooden armrests or whatever type chairs that you just sitting chairs, but not anything super, like I said, not recliners or anything. And I had like 3 of them up there that we used, like if I had people over and we played video games or whatever. And sometimes I'd come home and there would be, I had 3 of them. And sometimes I'd come home and there'd just be 1. The other 2 would just be gone. Nowhere in the house. Just gone.
Just gone.
Nowhere.
You're like, I don't.
And then, then there'd be like 3 and then there'd be none. It's like, what's going on? They just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it was only the
very
chairs.
interesting.
Other stuff didn't really disappear. It was just the chairs.
They really thought those chairs were comfortable, I guess.
I don't know what it was. It was weird. Just
that is weird. I haven't had no, I've had some things good like missing. But nothing like a chair. I've had chairs moved,
a bad feeling
but I haven't. Me too.
Me too.
I've had chairs move, but I've never had like chairs go missing. But I've had things like disappear for sure. Where I'm like, where did that one thing go? I swear I had this, and I had it one day, and then it was gone the next, and we never know what happened to it. So, but yeah, so that was like my childhood house. We only have one entity. We have a few more now, but they're all animals. So sometimes like the cats come to visit and things like that. So I do have a lot of those experiences. Even here. So here I've only had Bowser has been my only animal here, but occasionally my dog that I had right before Bowser, Yoshi, comes to visit every once in a while. And I can see him like running around.
Why do you not play more Mario games? I'm just curious.
I just don't have them to play, so I don't.
Well, now you got your capture card up and running, so you can.
Yeah, I have my capture card up and running, so I could get all my things. I could just steal it from Nugget, all of her stuff. So, but yeah, so they'll like the cats and stuff will come and visit sometimes. Yoshi will come and visit. And I'm pretty sure he just follows me around. Like, I don't think he's stuck at some of these places like some of these other entities are. I think he's, he's attached to me or to my daughter. And so like he travels with us. So yeah, I think that's pretty fun to see every once in a while him come by and visit.
Yeah, I don't know what one of the other, in that same house, we had another spirit. And I've heard stories from other people. I listen to paranormal podcasts, and I always talk about Darkness Radio because that's one of the main ones I've always listened to. And back when they would do call-ins, there were 3 people separately who had all called in, and when they said it, I was like, shit, that's almost exactly what happened. So they had it was like a spirit animal that was like this giant, terrifying, like, I think the movie Pet Sematary with the cat.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. So my mom was attacked. She had like a giant scar on her face because she was attacked by this thing. And I ended up chasing it with the baseball bat down into the basement. But that thing was picture a Maine Coon, but out of your nightmares.
Yeah, right.
And
oh my gosh.
Our basement, there's no entrance to the basement, and there's no exit from the basement. A raid!
Hello, Raiders!
Mocha Noise coming on in with a party of 23. Hello, Moco. Let's get a shouty outy for the Moco Noise. We'll pause our timer here for the show. Make some noise for the Mocha Noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Make some noise from the Mocha Noise. Octavius, hello.
Oh, he has sword.
Boom.
He has key.
Here comes the Moco Parade. Hello, Ronix. Hello, Lost. Or Eost.
Yes.
Eost. Welcome on in, guys. Booms. Hello. Bid you.
Who is this? Let me ban them.
How was your stream? How are you doing? How are you feeling after you had a long day today? Moco was doing the Only Human. Only Human? Right? No. Once Human. Gosh. Once Human. Moco was doing Once Human, been doing that quite a bit. Actually introduced me to the game, and of course then I went and I got signed up and I got filled out, and I started playing it a little bit today, and I'll be playing it this week as well. So I'll be playing it tomorrow and Thursday. I'll be playing Once Human as well.
Yeah.
And playing that, and I'm very excited for the game. And I will be having some codes to give away. So if you don't have the game and you want to get in on the beta, you can hop on, come and get a couple codes from me to play. It is addicting. Yeah, I played a little bit today, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I got a show with Bentley to do in a few minutes. So welcome on in.
Yeah, get on that.
So thank
Now
you
let's
guys
get
so
started on
much
the
for being
Bentley.
here. Please stick around, hang out. Thank you, Moko, for joining us. This is our final installment of the Paranormal Off the Pod. We did an entire month of the Paranormal on stream here, where we did all kinds of different special paranormal events. And today I have Bentley on, and we're going to be talking all kinds of things. Right now, we're talking about growing up with the paranormal in our lives. Both of us have lived in haunted houses and had paranormal experiences as kids. We're going to talk about haunted locations throughout the world. We're going to kind of talk about those. And we're just going to open it up to just paranormal in general. And, you know, we're, of course, going to talk with you guys about your experiences and get your input. Completely interactive show. All of the alerts are turned on, so feel free to stick around and join us. Click the follow button if you want to stay apprised and if you like the stuff that you see. And of course, if you want to hit refresh and refresh and keep your thing to count. What's that?
I said, do's it.
Do's it. Do's it.
Do's it.
Why does my chat have? That was weird. I looked down. I was like, why in my chat, like as if I was typing in chat, it said 6666 on there. There was 4 of them, not 3.
Oh, I
there
just
were 4.
have.
And I was like, what?
I have so much that could, like, growing up and living with the paranormal. I have so much. I was like, I'm going to run out of time on this 20-minute timer. I'll tell you what. And there's actually a story that I was like, I thought about it on Sunday and I was like, I'm going to share it today. And so part of, like, where I live now, I've had more experiences with paranormal outside of the house too. Like, and Octavius was with me on this call. We were discussing scheduling and things like that. And I was walking Mister, and it was pretty late at night. And I heard, like, a group of dudes, like, just laughing, very not like something that triggered me kind of laughter. Like, I was like, something is going down. Like, they're not doing something good. No one was in the backyards by the houses.
Okay.
I was like, so I was walking behind the garages and something didn't want me to go over there. I was like, I can hear them clear as day. They have to be coming from this one garage. But there was no cars. All the garages were shut. I didn't want to go near that garage. I, like, looked over the fence to make sure they weren't in, like, the industrial area. I didn't see anybody, but I could hear them as clear as day. Recently, I walked by, and in the child, like, sidewalk chalk on that garage, like, on the wall of the garage on the outside, there's a 666 written on it.
Whoa.
And a little jail cell that says jail.
We got a raid from DM Wolf.
Oh.
DM Wolf, are you done already, buddy? Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, DM Wolf. Get a shout out for DM
Hello,
Wolf.
Raiders. Welcome in. Hello.
Hello. Welcome on in, everybody. There's a little clippy clip. DM Wolf in this clip doing some Fallout RPG. A lot of us have been doing a lot of Fallout and post-apocalyptic type games. Here's a tabletop role playing of Fallout. You gotta be over here because that's where the line is.
I can be just
You're fine,
as
Beth.
devious, DM.
I know. I moved into the.
You did.
Okay.
Hello, how was your stream? You guys were just doing some chat, and I saw there was a couple people you had on chatting away. Were you doing the podcast recording today? But welcome on in, guys. Go and give DM Wolf a follow. Does podcast, tabletop roleplay, all kinds of stuff. I was a guest on his show. You can also check out my show. He's been here for Off the Pod as well. So welcome on in, everybody. Thank you for being here. We're talking the paranormal on Off the Pod with Bentleigh13. Of course, if you don't know Bentley, go and give her a follow as well. You can see her name in the title there. And also, we can do this. Boom.
Oh.
Right there, you can click that little button if you want to go check out Bentleigh13 if you don't already follow her.
You're missing out on some highly good gameplay.
Yeah.
Just chatting.
Before you continue your story, Supernatural Writer wanted to know. She wanted to know if are you nervous to share your experiences? She doesn't really like to talk about any of her stuff personally.
So I do a lot to, like, keep myself protected as I'm sharing. So that's part of, like, kind of what I wanted to go into, like, the overarching part of, like, the paranormal. I think it's okay to share your stories as long as you have the right protections in place. So, like, this is not really anything like, I'm not going to give it less power. This isn't something that you would normally find at like a crystal place or a place where you could find protection, but I put a lot of intention into it.
Mhm.
And so this is my protection, right? I rarely take it off. It always comes with me wherever I go. In this case, we say from a lot of things. And so I have the intention set that this protects me. They're not allowed to do anything to me while I'm wearing this, no matter what I'm talking about. There's no low level energies allowed near or around me at any point in time. And so making sure that you have have things in place in order to talk about it, because I have noticed that as I talk about it more, or as when I start to dive into things and talk about these subjects,
They
it
become a
does
little bit more prevalent.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're thinking about it, you're putting energy into it. So what do they feed off of energy, right? That's how they communicate, interact with things. That's why hauntings and activities and stuff don't always happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, my screen is messing up.
You did tell them that they could do stuff with.
I
with you
did.
today.
I
You
did
tell
tell
them.
them that they could interact with me, and I have this line distorting my face on my screen.
You should tell them that they can move some of your dolls and stuff on the shelf behind you.
Yeah,
so
you
that
guys
people
can touch anything here.
touch it and move it tonight.
Anything here, you can move it around, you can touch it, but only while I'm on the video. Anything here you can touch. And so that was the thing that I was going to tell Epic, part of living with them. So I usually cast them out, right? Nugget wants to know about them and she's very interested in it, but at the same time she's really scared. So we tend to banish them, right? We tend to tell them you can't be here and things like that. And so what I was like, hey, you're welcome to join me tonight. And tonight alone, when I turn on the camera, you're more than welcome to be here. I was talking to them and I started getting chills and someone was running their finger and I was like, you can't touch me. That's not okay.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do anything like that, but you can be here and you can talk to me. Yes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I thought I
Okay.
heard something.
I do have a strip on my screen. Stop messing the screen. Touch these things. Touch the pins. Touch the piece. And right before I came on to sit down with Epic, I was telling him my headset was working. I was listening to some YouTube videos before I came on. And I was getting ready. I had no problems. The minute I sat down to join him, my headset was on, but it stopped playing any audio. And it took a couple minutes to get it to turn back on. And then my camera for Zoom, it lit up like it was on, but then it didn't say that it was on.
Yeah.
It wasn't showing anything. And it took a couple times to get it to turn on. And so they're really messing with me. If I was a ghost, you have to hide them. That's fair. That's fair.
I got scratched and attacked by a ghost once. It was a long time ago. Okay. And we are going to talk more about haunted locations and other paranormal events. Did you have issues telling people, friends at school, family members about these experiences? Because again, that's part of growing up with the paranormal is,
yeah.
Did you have people to share this with and to express what was going on? And did you get shut down a lot when that happened?
So my mom and my dad, when I lived with them, they are the ones that have, they call him Casper because he doesn't have it. We don't know his name. Okay. We don't know who he is.
But they were aware and they believed that there was something.
Yeah, they would tell him to stop messing with things. They would say, Casper, close the door. Leave the refrigerator alone. So they would say things like that. And they would, scold him for being naughty. My friends, I didn't really talk to them too much about different things, but in high school, I did have a group of friends that did the naughty things. So make sure that when you're messing with paranormal stuff, make sure you know how to utilize them properly.
Yeah.
We had a Ouija board that we messed with, and luckily I was not part of the circle. I was not part of the people messing with the Ouija board. But they didn't close the session.
Yeah, close your sessions, people.
Anything like that properly.
Any
yeah,
spirit
make sure you
board, close your damn sessions.
Yeah, close it off. Tell them goodbye. End it before you take your hands off of whatever it is you're touching or anything like that. Make sure you say your goodbyes. Tell them that they're not allowed to follow you.
Mhm.
Put all those protections in place. But like all the lights went out. We had a terrible evening that evening, and I was like, you guys done fucked up.
Yeah. So you had some people that were open to it. I had a lot of I could talk to my mom, and I didn't even realize I could talk to my mom until I was more or less out of the house, until we were no longer living together. So I spent, because I didn't know she had these experiences growing up. I didn't know that I didn't know we had a family history, for crying out loud. So I didn't realize that. So for me, I was like experiencing things and seeing stuff and interacting with stuff, and I couldn't really tell anyone. Or
It's
I
tough
didn't,
when you
or
don't
I
have
didn't even
anybody
know
to
what I
talk
was
to.
seeing. I was so young, I didn't even know what I was seeing, or I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So that first house that we had that was haunted, we literally had floating ball lightnings. Like if you've never seen one, they just like this floating static orb of electricity that would float around. And I didn't even remember. I remember the house, and I remember that there were creepy things there. And I remember that when I went to sleep, I did the miso or the supernatural writer thing, where it's like,
You turn
nope,
around
I'm
and you
asleep.
ignore it.
I'm
Yeah.
asleep. Nope. You can't.
I
You
do
can't. You
that
can't scare me if I'm
sometimes.
asleep. And I remember doing that vividly. And I remember my mom going, "Where did he learn to do this?" Because they would always be like, "Is he faking it?" And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, because I learned at an early age, if I could fake that I was sleeping, the shit would leave me alone.
Right. I do that so much. Like even now, like I'll like make sure I'm covered and my back is to them. And I'm like, I am not acknowledging that you are next to my bed right now because you're not allowed to be here. And so, yeah, we did, I don't think we really like, there wasn't full blown discussions. It wasn't like, this is how, this is how you protect yourself. It wasn't anything like that. It was just more of like, they knew that that we had an entity in our house. They acknowledged him. They scolded him for doing naughty things, and that was it. But so I wouldn't say like I had someone to talk to per se, just other people that acknowledged that happened, right? And now like my kids all have both are both experiencers and have experienced things, and so we talk about it a little bit more, and we're a little bit more open about it, and we address things a little bit more often. But when I was growing up, it wasn't the conversations that my kids and I have now.
Renfield said he saw something move behind me, and I'm like, really? Like, I do have an item that is mildly haunted in the house, but I haven't really experienced anything since I closed something that was bad in the house last year. So
Yeah.
I'm like, was
If
there
you keep
something?
it, so it doesn't always happen, right? Like there have been things in this corner. We've seen it on stream. There was like a little thing that was floating around back here at one point during stream one time. Everybody saw it that was there. And I looked and there was like, I don't have like a stucco ceiling. So there was nothing that there's nothing on the ceiling that it could have fell from. And there was nothing on the ground when I looked down. I was like, maybe it was just something that fell. I always try to discredit, like, okay,
yeah, I always got to
what could it
debunk
have
it. I always got
been?
to debunk it.
Right. I always try to debunk it. So like the other night, there was a shadow in my window. So I was like, okay, maybe it's the chair. Maybe it's, so I moved some things around and it was still there. And I was like, okay, I suppose. And so I told Epic that I had some like newer experiences that we had recently. And that was my daughter. She smelled some lavender, which is new. We don't have lavender anything in the house.
Yeah.
There's nothing smelly in her room. Like she's not a girly girl, right? She doesn't have like a lot of scented things. And she was like, she woke up the next morning. She was like, when I was laying down, oh, we're on to the next subject already.
Well, what did you expect? 20 minutes.
I know. I lost track of time. But she was like, I smelled like a lavender thing when I woke up last night when I was going to bed. And I was like, oh, maybe somebody good was visiting you or something that was lavendery. And then I opened the bedroom door and I had resistance, like I had hit something. And I was like, okay, maybe my, like I do have a panel there for like the electricity, like the fuse boxes. So I was like, maybe the door was open. It was completely closed and locked up. I don't know what I hit, but it was very solid, whatever I hit. It made a sound. And I was like, oh, I didn't mean to hit you. I didn't know you were there, but you're not allowed to be here. You could be here now, though. You can mess with anything you want back here on the shelves. Just be careful of the breakables. So, yeah.
I didn't finish talking about the cat either. The cat monster thing.
Oh no, you chased it into the
because we got raided. Yeah, so our basement, our
basement.
So our basement door, because it was a walkout basement, but you couldn't open the basement door because it had taken so much water damage. It had swollen shut and sealed. It was fused shut. There were no other entrances. So it attacked my mom. She opened the basement door and it attacked her from the basement.
Oh gosh.
Like it was down there. And then I chased it down there, and then I had, because I think I was having a friend spending the night or something like that. And so we turned on all the lights and we went down there with baseball bats and we hunted for the damn thing. Because my mom,
never found it?
She it was like a horror scene. She again, a cut on her face this long across her face. It was like down around her nose.
Oh gosh.
Blood just, her face was covered. It was like a horror movie scene. There was blood everywhere. Because it jumped and it latched at her face.
Yeah. And there are entities that can latch onto you, right? Like my son has had he's had handprints left on him. Like I said, he's been scratched and things like that. So it just depends on what entity you're dealing with.
But yeah, and that thing just disappeared.
That's crazy.
Disappeared into thin air in a mostly empty basement. The only thing down there was like a washer and dryer and a couple storage boxes, and that was it. We didn't have anything else in that basement. So there was no place for that giant ass cat to hide. So it just poof, vanished into thin air.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. Are you saying no thank you to me?
Yeah, no thank you to that experience. No thank you.
Yeah, no. And so and I just always stuck with me, and my mom's like, yeah, it must be that giant cat that sits outside and whatever. I'm like, and she was like deep trying to wrap her brain around it, because that's not a common paranormal experience. That's not a common thing and here's the thing, every cat that we've ever had in that house, every cat that my aunt lived there in that house before us, she had cats. Every cat we had, they all within like 3 or 4 months, they all went bonkers. They all went crazy.
Oh wow.
Every single one of them. And my aunt lived there for like 15 years before we moved in there, and then we lived there for like 6 years. And every single cat ever, and I've spent all my summers, I spent my summers there very often. So at least 2 or 3 weeks of my summers there. And yeah, every single cat was just bonkers. And so yeah, it was just this weird thing. And then hearing these other experiences, like, shit, I'm not, it's an actual thing. This is an actual thing. So yeah, what it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that house, and I still to this day, when I have nightmares, which isn't very often because I'm pretty strong in my dream sleep. But when I do have nightmares, 90% of the time it's that house. I'm back in that house and there's something haunted going on in there that's, crazy and terrifying or whatever. And I do have a lot of good memories there, but
yeah.
Sassy Squatch!
Sassy Squatch. Hi.
Speaking of the paranormal.
That's right.
Welcome on in, Sassy.
Welcome in, Raiders. Hello.
Hello. There's a little shout out for Sassy, a PNG streamer. Lots of fun. Okay. Really cool person. Go and check them out. Give them a follow. Has all kinds of different PNGs that they use. The same kind of thing, but wearing different outfits and doing different things. And very chatty. Always feel free to go in there and just chat and hang out.
I don't know why they're not. I don't know why they're all pushing that.
Does a wide variety of games, so go and check out Sassy, guys. Thank you so much. How was your stream? Hopefully everything was going well. Today we're talking paranormal, all things paranormal, with the one and only Bentleigh13. We just got done talking about growing up in with the paranormal. We both grew up with the paranormal, all kinds of paranormal things. So
yeah. Yeah, variety too, right? Epic had different experiences than I did. I grew up with friendly and non-friendly entities. My kids have experienced a couple of different things. We know one person's name is Jonathan, and he lives in the old house that we used to live in. And so Jonathan doesn't come around anymore because he doesn't come here. But yeah.
That we know of. Did we mention
That we
that like
know.
it's possible something could have come from there over to where you're at now? And
Yeah, it's possible. Every once in a while we'll see a shadow person come by. But they don't mess with us like they did at the other place.
Okay.
They don't really do a whole lot of, I don't know if they're like just testing the waters to see. But there's a theory that the downstairs neighbor at the old place used to, she's not altogether there. And so there was a theory that she opened up a lot of like portals and access to things. And that's why it's a lot more is there versus here.
yeah.
But yeah, there's still a lot that does happen. That doesn't happen here. I have quite a bit that I have more things happen in my dreams here than I did at the old place. But
Yeah.
we
Dreams
can talk
are.
about that more later.
I don't want to see when it comes to the paranormal that dreams are my forte. I'm by no means a professional, but I've studied that more than anything else, and I've worked with that medium more than any of the other mediums. And I want to say that's one of my strong suits when it comes to that area.
Yeah.
So why are there just there's constantly random numbers? Now it says 46.
They're messing with you more than they're messing with me.
They are. I mean, I might be bumping my keyboard somehow, but not really. No.
What did we miss in chat?
So-
Supernatural Writer said she gets really vivid dreams and also sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that was a bit back.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was not paying attention to chat apparently.
Yeah, I was trying to read stuff and keep chatting, but yeah, Supernatural Writer with the vivid dreams, and sleep paralysis is not a fun experience. But there is medical reasons for it, so it's really hard to go, okay, is that in the realm of, because when you're in the hypnagogic state, so when you're asleep, your body shuts off basically your nervous system, right? So your body says you're not supposed to feel pain while you're asleep easily unless it's super extreme. It makes it so you're not really supposed to be able to move, and so it kind of shuts it down. So, but when you start to wake up from that, when if you're in like the dream state and you're having dreams, that's generally where it fluctuates in and out of being able to have feeling and have control of your body. So that's where people will usually toss and turn in those lighter wake moments. But the scientists have found that there is a certain moment of overlap between being awake, being asleep, and being in the dream state where your body is still shut down, but your brain is not. But your brain is still in dream mode, so you will hallucinate and see things, but you'll still be awake and cognizant, but you can't move your body, and that inflicts this terror. And so a lot of people will see things, especially like people sitting there, and that's they've experienced that in a scientific sleep studies. So when it comes to that, there is a crossover. Like, is it scientific or is it the paranormal? Who knows? Because being able to see paranormal stuff that other people can't see is, in the brain as well, right?
That's right.
So,
yep. Yeah, a lot of and we think that so out of the three of us, out of myself and my two kids, Nugget sees the most. And she also has a lot more of she dealt a lot with night terrors and sleepwalking and sleep talking. And so she's just more, her brain is just more amplified, or it has something else going on with it that allows her to interact with that realm a little bit more. And so they're there's a mental illness when it comes to sleepwalking and all that stuff. And I'm but I don't really, I wouldn't call it a mental illness, but
right.
She's just more open to that stuff.
Yeah. Renfield says that, let's see, where did it go? Where'd it go? There it is. He says saying the Lord's Prayer and Holy Marys and using sea salt helps keep negative energy away. Yes.
I did see
and even regular salt, even table salt works as well.
I did see someone ask about if like even God could protect you about these from these things. And that's an interesting question because I think like
I
that
missed that
does
one.
that does lean. I can't remember who asked it, but that does lean into like there are demonic entities out there that will pretend that they are
Angels and God.
angels
yeah.
and like God, and then they'll tell you that that stuff doesn't exist, or you know, so you have to be really careful in like and really set in your beliefs when it comes to these types of things. So
Yeah, and it
um
and my answer to that is it depends on how strong your belief in it is.
yeah,
Because
there's a lot
again,
of people who don't believe in heaven and hell, and then they have those types of experiences and it changes their belief.
right, and I mean, there are people that are in that industry that are Christians, that are Buddhists, that are Jewish, and you can't use somebody else's prayers, but theirs all work, right? So like the
Yeah.
people that are in the industry and use protection, they will say, they will say Michael's prayer, they will say the Lord's prayer, they will invoke Jesus's name. But then there are people who are Muslim who have their own rites that work just as well. But if a Muslim person, invokes Jesus's name, it's not really going to work as well.
No.
So that goes back to the intention thing that Bentley was talking
Yeah.
about earlier, right? It's about
Yes.
your intention. So if you have a strong religious belief, that is part of your intention and part of what you believe. So I think that they are tied, and I think yes, it does work, and I think yes, God can protect you if that's what you strongly believe in. But if you don't believe in it,
Absolutely.
if you don't have the faith, if you're like, yay, this shot glass will protect me, will it though? If you don't really
I
think that it's
mean,
going to, it's not going to. So
you have to be really intentional, right? You have to have really strong intentions. And that's what I try and teach Nugget is like, we have a protection candle and a couple other things. And so before we light this, we need to make sure that we're setting our intentions on it. Grab your candle, talk into it, tell them what you want protection from, what we're looking to get from this
mhm.
protection, and then we light it and then we walk around the house with it and things like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be God, but it can be. It can be. Atheist, if you're an experiencer and an atheist, there are still things you could do to protect
Yes.
yourself that isn't the Lord's Prayer or anything like that. So
Yeah, and if you're spiritual, if you're not religious but you're spiritual, you can get into crystals and other
Mhm.
protective items, minerals. We talked about salt a little bit. Like salt is kind of a
Yeah.
universal. Almost every
That's why
religion uses salt.
Octavius hasn't experienced anything, is because he's full of salt. So it just stays away
They were just
from them.
talking in chat about you just got to have him walk around your house a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Octavia says,
Just
sure,
have him
both
walk
of our
around him.
childhood stories, they're scary as the cat one, I think, is the only one that's super scary for me, personally. I've had a few other ones, but they were just like, I was a kid. I guess the ball lightning, that house did burn down out of nowhere.
Oh, gosh.
The power was shut off and nobody was living there and the house burnt down. They say it was struck by lightning, but there are giant trees nearby that always caught the lightning in the fields.
Yeah.
That house never
That
burned
seems a
down struck by
little
lightning. So.
that seems a little suspicious to me. Yeah. At the other place, so the other place, the last place we lived in was probably the scariest in terms of like Nugget had a lot of her night terrors there. She would dream about things that like when she was 2, she had a really terrible dream, a very vivid dream of falling off of a train, and she had never been on a train, and she was also a young man in this dream. And she explained very vividly what happened to this person. I won't say it because it's very like grotesque.
That sounds like a past life experience.
And so potentially, yeah, right. And that's also where my oldest, had the handprint. He was attacked by a shadow person, which I came out and there was this black shadow hovering over him. He was laying on his stomach. And so there was no way anybody else could have touched him. And the handprint was upside down like this. So there's no way he was sleeping
like that,
on his arm like this at all. And it had to have been there for a really long time. It was a very deep red handprint that didn't go away for a while. And he would wake up with like scratches and stuff on his back. So there was just some things in that particular household that the negative energy was drawn to. And there's been a few times where we'll see, like when we were coming back up to the house, we would see something walk across the kitchen window, and we're like, nobody's home.
Yeah. Jax wants to know if people can wake you
So
out of the sleep paralysis. And
I
it just takes
would,
time. You just have to stop.
yeah,
A lot of people say when you have a moment like that, you close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I think it's like count to 10 or count to 15 and you should be good. Or maybe you don't close your eyes, but you're supposed to take a deep breath and count to 15 and slowly like exhale, and do that a couple times. And it's supposed to speed up the process of waking up.
yeah. I
But
think
yeah.
with like trying to wake somebody up from those types of states, I mean, it's kind of like waking up a sleepwalker, right? You don't want to just pull them out. You can't just pull them out of there. You have to be very slow and really take the time to wake them up, like because you're still in a dream state, like even with sleep paralysis, right? Part of it is that you're still dreaming,
Yeah.
or you're stuck in that. So that can really like mess up the person that's having that experience and going through that if you don't know how to do it right. So anytime you're dealing with like sleepwalking, sleep paralysis, you really want to make sure, like, if you're going to try and pull some person out of it, that you're doing it very carefully and very slowly. Because if you jar them out,
Yeah.
it's really going to be a shock to the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had that happen to me, in moments of sleep where I wasn't in, I'll just say I wasn't in a dream state, and but there was something else going on and I got pulled out of it and I had migraines for like a week. It was bad, and it was
Yeah.
kind of, in that day I was kind of debilitated. So yeah, you'll have to tell me what you think of my talking about dreams. Yeah, Miso. We can chat sometime. Maybe I'll have to do like an episode where I get people on here and I haven't done dream translations in a really long time. I think the last person I did one for was Juji6, and before that was like 5 years ago. So yeah, I maybe I'll do something like that sometime. Get a couple people on, do a live chat.
I think that would be fun to do.
Hey, I've caught up to the part where Octavia said he came for the salt, and having him walk around the room. Let's see here.
Oh,
Loftus Hall, the Hellfire Club, had the same Irish legend. Funny enough, some people who do the Hellfire Club have seen a big black cat with red eyes instead of normal cat ears that had horns.
Oh.
See? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Miso says, I don't think it's generally the religion, but what you said, your intention. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Gotta push that.
So there's a
energy.
lot, like I could do a whole chat, and I think I have before, about like intentions and putting it out there. And there's actually a movie on Netflix called The Secret, I believe it's called, that talks all about putting intentions and what you put out into the world, and how it affects things. So I think it's good to watch. It's
Yeah.
good to watch.
Red says that there can be power in a room with people praying. I don't know if it's God answering or it's just the universe responding to the energy. Yeah, it could be either. It could be or. I just mentioned when we did when I did the Thick and Spooky Ghouls podcast, I was talking about Art Bell and how he had a large group of people do an intention experiment, and it was like everybody focusing on one thing changed scientifically drastically things. So is something over there moving? Everyone, so I see you look over there and I'm like, what are you
the sun is coming in, so I think it's just the shadows catching my eye.
Gotcha.
Off the thing. That's why I'm like, am I? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking for my own, because there's a lot that's shiny near and around me. So like I can see, like I have Yoshi here up in the corner. No one else can really see him with my camera, but I can see reflections. And then I have like my pop stuff that has like the shiny reflectiveness on it. So I'm like, am I catching sun being reflected and like the clouds and stuff moving outside, or is something else happening?
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of, Renfield mentioned Loftus Hall. Our next topic is haunted locations, and don't worry, guys. We will have a kind of an open. We still have an open book paranormal to talk about, so we can circle back to any of these subjects. And not only that, but we also have potluck, so we have plenty of room to circle back to some other paranormal stuff. But we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about haunted locations. I know Bentley basically has a dissertation that she put together on this, so I might as well just mute my microphone for 20 minutes and let Bentley talk at you for 20 minutes about all the things that she didn't even put together that her daughter put together for her.
Yeah. So it was so funny. I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing with Epic. I'm going to be doing a paranormal thing. What do you think I should talk about? And she was like, haunted locations. And I was like, okay, great. And she's been really stuck on the Stanley Hotel lately. And so I was like, okay, you give me a list of things that I could talk about, places I could talk about. And she, off the top of her head, this was all done off the top of her head.
Thank you for the ghost behind for the follow. Much appreciated.
This is all on top of her head. This is the list that she made for me.
Did you add the ones I gave you?
I did not. I did not touch her list. I wanted everybody to see the list that she made. So it says paranormal activity things that are places. And then it has all the different things that some of her favorite YouTubers have gone to.
I'm so surprised that she did not have Bobby Mackey's on there. Out of all of those places, Bobby Mackey's is the one place that I'm like least like if you're like, put this in a list of things that you are likely to say F that to, and Bobby Mackey's is number one. The ghost behind you says the Stanley Hotel is a beautiful hotel. It is gorgeous. I've seen pictures of it. I've seen people go there, and there are a few people I know who have gone there to investigate, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous place for sure.
It's pretty interesting. The Stanley Hotel. So a lot of people go there because of The
Shining.
The Shining.
Yeah.
And The Shining wasn't even based off of like any of the hauntings there. It was just he had a dream that happened in the room. And so now that room is really famous. And, and the book and the movie and all over like smash hits because of that. But, the thing with haunted places is everybody goes there thinking that they're going to have all these kinds of events, right? They're just thinking that they're going to go and the Stanley Hotel, I'm going to see all these crazy things go down. But what people don't remember is it takes a lot of energy for these ghosts to like really get into our world and interact with these things. And so like a lot of those things, they don't, you're not always going to see something.
No.
It might be haunted, but you're never going to
like,
see haunted.
The Stanley Hotel is haunted, but it's not like notoriously haunted.
It's not notoriously haunted. No, not at all. There are some rooms in some areas that are, there's supposedly a mirror there that you take pictures in, and a lot of people have seen like entities appear with them in those pictures in the mirror. And some of the
neutralize it. Vinegar water. Sorry, I dabble a little bit in mirror magic as well to understand it. So yeah, cleaning stuff, and I don't allow mirrors in my bedroom at all. I just do not allow it. Period. End of subject. So
nope.
The ghost behind you stayed at the Stanley Hotel for your honeymoon. Let us know if you had a paranormal experience when you were at the Stanley. Tell us.
I would love to know. I would love to know about that. But yeah, mirrors can be difficult. I have a hard time with mirrors because, I don't want to give it the power that it could potentially have. I think the mirror universe is a crazy, crazy thing. You can get lost in it. Don't stare at yourself too long in the mirror.
I mean, I do because I'm gorgeous, but besides that.
Mirrors are known to create portals if there's multiple mirrors looking at each other. And I think like that's potentially one of the things with the Stanley Hotel is they do have a floor where there's a couple mirrors like facing each other, so it can create that portal. So I think there are places that are like lighthouses, more of like ghosts come and pass through and like visit, but not necessarily stay.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the Stanley Hotel is one of them. Like it does have some rooms that are haunted. The one story though that kind of makes me wonder, like, our place is haunted or are people haunted, is the story of the maid that didn't die at the Stanley Hotel. But she worked there for a really long time. She died not at the Stanley Hotel. She died in her own home, but she supposedly haunts the Stanley Hotel now. And she's one of those cleaners, like she folds guests' laundry, so the story goes, and cleans up after them. And so that was my little dissertation about the Stanley Hotel that I was given. She didn't die. She almost died at the Stanley Hotel. She didn't, but now she haunts there. So
Red says he remembers going into dressing rooms and stores with like mirrors facing each other and like endless reflections. So weird. Yeah, yeah. Mirror haunted house, you know, the carnival mirror houses and stuff. But they clean those mirrors and stuff. So they probably clean them with the right stuff. So hope I'm going to tell Bentley about your research on Loftus Hall and its ghostly tale. She was here for the episode. She was here the day that you were telling me about it, and I went and I looked at it. We talked all about it. She was there. She was there. She was in the audience. You mentioned how ghosts like pass through, but they don't necessarily stay. There is a place where they do tend to pass through or stay, and I thought it was very fascinating because the Queen Mary is a ship, and it's made with all these like old. It's made from a sunken ship, and they rebuilt it out of basically the framework of an old sunken ship, and there's ghosts from that ship, ghosts from the new ones, and they say that like anybody who's there, those spirits are kind of trapped because it sits on the water, and like the way that it's designed and built, it's almost like it's designed and built to hold spiritual energy in and keep it there. And I always thought that is so crazy that like, okay, so if a ghost passes through or somebody dies there, they're just permanently trapped and they can't pass on, they can't move on.
Yeah, they're
that
just
is terrifying.
stuck there. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, and that was one of the places I was going to talk about as well. Was the Queen Mary is a pretty crazy place to go to. I have not been there. I haven't had the balls to go there yet.
I would go there.
But there's,
I wouldn't go to the Bobby Mackey's, but I would go to the Queen Mary.
Right. I think now I would probably go there now that I know a little bit more. But when I was much younger, there was no way I would have definitely had something attach itself to me and try to travel with me off of that ship. But yeah, I think because it's just there's no way really to get off for them, that they're just stuck there. And a lot of things didn't happen at like the Queen Mary, right? There was a chef that got pushed into I think it was a chef that got pushed into the oven by some of the crew members there. Obviously a lot of people died there because it was a warship. Yeah. So a lot of people died on that ship. There was an incident where they were being basically like chauffeured by another little boat, and they eventually caught up to that boat somehow and rammed right through that boat. Okay. And a lot of deaths happened from that. And so that's why they say like, I think it's called the bow, is one of the most haunted spots on that ship, is because that's where the impact was. Yeah. And so there's a lot of like energies and ghosts stuck there on that. And a lot of people down in the boiler room of that ship.
Yeah. I do love that ship. We have a local place that's not too far. It's like a half hour from where I live. And it's called the Palmer House. And there have been multiple shows that have gone there and gone to the Palmer House. And it's a hotel that is haunted. And the owners think that the origins of it come from the basement. But Dave Schrader, who you guys, I've had him on the show and talked to him. He's been there multiple times and he always hosts events. And I want to share this for people because if you want to go, Dave Schrader, Sarah Lemos, and Shane Pittman Shane Pittman is part of the Holzer Files with Dave Schrader on Discovery Channel, but they're all actually having an event that you can join and go do a haunting, and you're not going to learn from a better person about paranormal investigating than from Dave Schrader.
Yeah,
so
he
there's
is-
an
he's
event if
really
you guys want to
good.
go to an actual physical location. And if you do decide to go, let me know, and who knows, maybe I'll sign up and I'll go say hi to Dave in person as well. I've
Yeah,
been
I
thinking about it.
remember he was on your podcast not too long ago. And so if you guys want to check that out, it is on YouTube as well on Epic's YouTube channel. You can check out the interview there with some of the experiences that he had. I do.
But yeah,
The screen is getting worse
oh no.
as time goes on.
But
It's
yeah,
not
the
even
Palmer
that
House
bad.
is
It's just
super
like
haunted.
little lines. It's just weird.
Yeah, I think they say it's like it's the most haunted location in Minnesota. Like number one most haunted location in Minnesota. So, there are places that they don't get to check to see how haunted they are. I'm sure the Glen Sheen Mansion would be on that list if they wanted to try and promote it and let people investigate it and figure out how haunted it is. But
Right.
There's plenty of places I'm sure that are haunted, that are super haunted, that people don't talk about. But out
Well,
of the places
that's-
that are, the Palmer House is one of the most haunted locations in the U.S. So
And that's what I kind of like about so there's been a lot of YouTubers more recently that have become ghost hunters, and they come in and do a lot of these I would say lesser known locations, right? I showed you this list and you're like, I don't know half of them on there.
right.
But these are all from people that Nugget has watched on YouTube, doing like the Estes method, using their spirit boxes, doing all kinds of things at these locations to like get communication from ghosts. But then that also brings up are people can be haunted versus places, because there has been some of the YouTubers she watches, one of them has an attachment to them. So is the place really haunted, or is it just he brought it there with him
Right.
and he's getting a response because the attachment is responding to him?
Yeah.
So
The ghost behind you responded, by the way, earlier to the
I saw that.
to the house. Said, we heard running and laughing past our door. This is again at the Stanley Hotel. Heard running and laughing past our door, so we decided to leave the door open, and we still heard running and giggling, but saw no kids, so we just closed the door.
Yeah,
like that
that's
would be
actually-
nonchalant. Like, oh look, there's something. Okay, well, it's
Yep.
nothing. Just close
There's
the door.
nothing
No
there.
big deal.
That's actually one of the most common things that they hear at the Stanley Hotel is laughing and running when there's nobody there, right? Like a lot of these people have said, we're the only ones here, or it's really super late at night. So there shouldn't be a lot of going on. But that laughing and running is one of the top heard sounds that come from the Stanley Hotel when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The
Palmer
only
House for
uncomfortable place we
sure.
stayed at was when we stayed at the Artist House in Key West.
Oh, tell us more
I don't
about
think
that.
I've heard of that one.
Tell us
Yeah,
more about that.
Roddy Mama, the Wabasha Caves, Street Caves. Yeah, here in the Twin Cities, they are
We
also haunted.
actually went to for gosh, I can't think of it now.
You're having a
we
Nick
went-
brain fart.
We did something Nugget related, and it was the eclipse. We went to a local town a few hours away for the eclipse, and on the way back, we stopped and visited some of the lighthouses, and one of them was supposedly haunted. They have a story of a young lady who was hanging out with a group of her friends at the lighthouse, left, realized she forgot an item of hers, went back, and then just disappeared.
Oh, I think
She never
either I
came
heard
back
the
to her
story on a
friends.
show, or I heard it from you.
I think
one
I
of the two,
I
or
think
both.
I shared it with you on your last not this last paranormal talk you did, but the one
The
you did
Halloween
before
one?
then.
Yeah,
the Halloween
yeah,
one.
the Halloween one.
I think I shared this story with you. And we've talked before about there are some rooms that you go to and you're just not going in that room. And I was kind of skeptical about it because it's a really small, very tiny lighthouse, right? But we went upstairs and Nugget was ahead of me, and she turned to go into a room stopped herself, stepped back, and said, "We're not going in there."
Yep.
And she left.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. I know that feeling. I've told that story. I've told the story of us going in house hunting and having
Yeah.
doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
I won't regale that tale yet for the 30th time. But yeah, that's redonkulous.
But yeah, so being that she's way more in tune than I am, I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like all doubt of whether or not this place is haunted. Like it's creepy. They have like little artifacts and stuff from the family that used to be there. And this room was not a room that was locked off. It was a room that you could walk through and look at the items. And she didn't even want to do that. She was just like, nope, we're not doing any more of this house. We're out of here. It's time to leave. Bye.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. So I mentioned there's a place out of all the haunted locations that are out there, the one I will not go to probably ever would be, if somebody says, okay,
Bobby Mackey.
here's a list of all these haunted places. There is one place you have to visit all of them. You have to visit all of them, but you can pick one. There's one that you don't have to go to. And for me, that of course is Bobby Mackey's. Do you have one absolutely like I am noping the hell out of that one? And do you have one that you're like, this is number one on my list, the place I gotta go to? Not necessarily to investigate, just to go to.
I think that I would love to go to the Queen Mary.
Yeah, same.
I used to live near it and I was too afraid to go to it. And now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more knowledgeable, I would love to go there and enjoy the experience, whatever it is I have. I think the Conjuring House, I would nope out of.
You'd nope out of the Conjuring House?
I'd nope out of the Conjuring House. No, thank you. The real Conjuring House, nope. No, thank you. Nugget is all about the Conjuring House. She's all about like, she wants to watch all the movies there are about it, and I'm like, I don't. Mama, don't mess with that.
No.
Mama, don't mess with that one. Not happening.
I think the one I'd want to go to the most, that I think would be the coolest to visit, not just for the paranormal experience, but just overall, would be the Winchester House.
Oh, the Winchester House would be good.
Because I think the Winchester House would be super cool.
I think just because of The Shining and stuff, the Stanley Hotel would be fun to visit. I wouldn't expect to have really any paranormal experiences there, really, but it would just be kind of cool to see the hedge maze that they created because of the book.
Right.
And to kind of see some of the add-ons and stuff that they did because of Stephen King, right? A lot of the stuff that we've seen in like, oh gosh, I can't think of that Jim Carrey movie, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
They actually, Stephen King had them change a lot of the stuff in the lobby and make it darker. And had it remodeled because he didn't like the movie originally, because it wasn't actually filmed at the Stanley Hotel originally. Yeah, it was somewhere in Oregon, Timberland, I think. And so he had them remodel. So it'd be kind of cool to see some of those things, and kind of see what that hotel looks like and be able to experience that.
The ghost behind you said that the Key West place that he was at, it's the house that Gene Otto lived in. We stayed at his suite and it was awful. Moving cold spots, the chair compressed like someone sat down in it. It was just a really bad feeling. While we were there staying, we found out about Gene's doll, Robert, and got to go see it. Robert the doll.
Oh, Robert the doll.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
Don't say bad things about Robert. Robert's a perfectly good doll. Don't say anything bad about him.
Robert is amazing. I forgot. I had a moment.
Now you should apologize. You should apologize to Robert.
Sorry, Robert. I was planning on it. You didn't have to tell me to apologize. I'm really sorry, Robert. I did not mean that. You're amazing. And do you know what just popped up on my screen that scared the crap out of me? Was a going live notification, and I thought it said Robert on it. It says, Rut-row Raggy.
Rut-row Raggy. Rut-row.
And I was like, oh, nope.
Nice. Miso would really love to experience something. Yeah. We'll get you there. We'll get you there.
That's why I was like, they could come and mess with all my things and kind of do stuff here during stream. I was like, Misa wants to experience something. And so I was like, maybe if she sees something while we're on stream, that could happen. You can touch that. I like put my arm there, and there's definitely a change of the air. So that's why I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna put my arm there no more.
And they're not allowed to come here. I got enough.
They're not allowed to come
issues.
here. They
They're
can't
not-
touch me, but they could touch anything on the shelves if they want to.
Yeah. So
They're
by the way,
allowed
guys,
to
this is
touch
what we're
anything
talking
on the
about
shelves.
setting your intentions. You make your intentions very clear. You don't ask for something. You don't invite them to follow. Don't invite them to
No.
do things.
Well-
you give them small permissions if you want, but say temporarily for now
Yeah.
in this moment, and then you continue to set your boundaries.
Yeah,
So-
you could tell.
And that's when you
them,
go into
we're already
locations.
out
Do
of
not
time.
follow me home. You're not allowed to follow me home.
Yep.
Don't make me sick. Don't follow a friend home. Don't attach yourself to any of my items.
Yep.
You say that when you're leaving a location like that, for sure.
And if you're in a location visiting, you have to be very specific to, like, you can follow me to this spot. You can follow me here, and that's it. You can, be very specific. It's kind of like dealing with
Like a 2-year-old.
not with a 2-year-old, a genie. You have to be very specific about what you're setting or doing, so that there's no loopholes that they can go through, right? So being very specific about what they can and cannot do, and setting like you think, oh, there's a loophole that they might be able to get through on this one. Don't include that. Like, make sure that's included.
The activity got so much worse after seeing the damn doll. Well, you're staying in his place, and then you saw Robert. I'm sure Robert saw that you were staying there. I would not be surprised, or vice versa. I feel if I were to see a ghost, I'd lose my shit and I would end up in the loony bin. Maybe. It just depends on how you see it and what you see. And don't tell them that, because then that that might be what they want.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that are just like jokesters, right? There's a lot of like jokey spirits. There's a lot of people that just want to play pranks on you and have a good time, and they're not like evil in any sense, but they do like silly things. But there are definitely some out there that would give me a hard time for sure. It's like dealing with Octavius. Got it. Yeah.
I was just reading that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It is like dealing with Octavius. You have to be very specific in what you're doing.
Red says, so in high school, I went to Europe on this big music trip, and we went to Germany, and we were supposed to go see Dachau. I don't know how to pronounce that, but we couldn't because it was Monday and they were closed. But I imagine that kind of place would have the same kind of energy, probably. Why is there a 6 on my?
They're messing with Epic today. I haven't touched my keyboard, so there's no way if something happened. I haven't touched it at all. So I think I lean more towards energy more than conscious spirit. So yeah, they definitely need so I know Miso, we were talking about like different realms and dimensions, and I think ghosts and spirits and entities like that kind of fall into that realm, right? Where they don't necessarily are on this plane. And that's why it takes so much energy for them to like communicate and interact with things here in our world, is because they are in a different plane of existence, so they do have to put forth so much energy. Are you good?
I'm good.
You were muted and very laggy.
Oh.
And so I was like, are you talking to us? Because nothing's happening.
No, I muted myself because I wanted to say something.
Yeah, go for it. Say something.
I did.
Oh.
I didn't want to interrupt your train of speaking.
You're good. Okay, I see. I hate it here. I was wearing a shirt that had a painting that Jean did on it I was an innocent bystander. I didn't know about the doll. I just heard people saying there was a museum with this stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, let's go. You
Oh
can't
man. Did you have to sign a waiver? Did you have to sign a waiver? And did you make sure if you took any pictures, did you make sure to ask permission first? Yep, you're also making announcements. Us feeling another living universe, maybe ourselves, even if maybe ourselves. Yeah, we might be haunting ourselves from like a future or past time, for sure. Totally, for sure. You did a whole show about Mr. I. You did. Miso Thorny on the Thick and Spooky Ghouls did that. That was right when we first met Miso Thorny, was talking about Robert the Doll and all of the other paranormal things. So
they're existing right now. They're just trying to touch me is the problem.
yeah.
So like there was a cold in my chair right back here. They were standing right here. Yeah, they're still standing right here. They've messed with my screen and they've messed with my audio and stuff, but they don't want to, for some reason, they don't want to. Actually, they did move my books. So I have all these were lined up perfectly and they're not anymore.
We'll have to go back. We'll have to go back.
I made sure because they were messed up before stream started.
And you lined them up.
And I lined them up.
There you go, guys. We can go back and watch the beginning of the VOD and see them lined up and then come back and see. So, we are, however, in the middle of the time here. So we have started off with talking about haunted location, or growing up with the paranormal, growing up with paranormal beings, entities, experiences, stuff like that. We moved on to haunted locations. And when we come back, we're just kind of going to open up the entire book. We're going to push it all open. So we're going to talk all things paranormal. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to set some boundaries before we go. Make sure you guys set boundaries too, to make sure this stuff, anything that we're experiencing, specifically more Bentleigh than anything. Like my stuff, I think, is coming from Bentleigh. And so, yeah, with that being said, we'll be back in just a moment. I gave
permission, so protect yourselves.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries. Put your protections on. Say all those things, because it is possible. Anytime I watch a paranormal thing, I always set my boundaries while I'm watching the video. So make sure that you guys are doing the same thing, please, because it can happen. It can happen.
All right. So we'll be right back after a break. We'll be gone for about 5-10 minutes. Feel free to stick around. I appreciate that. We'll be back and we'll be talking more about the paranormal. We'll see you in just a little bit. All right, everybody, we are back. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys for sticking around through that break. Both of us got a refill on drinks and used the restroom and did some set some boundaries, as it were. Which I thought was funny. So like I'm off stream, I'm like, oh, they can't hear me, and I forgot that Bentleigh could hear me. So I'm sitting here like setting my boundaries, and I can kind of have a stern tone, and so it's like saying stuff, and then I went and I got some tools and did those.
He dinged his little bell.
I was afraid that I was like, because it's super high pitch, I was afraid that like, oh crap, I forgot you could hear and you had your headphones on. Hopefully that wasn't too loud, and apparently she didn't hear it at all.
I never heard it.
You are a pirate.
Yar, har, diddly-dee. Diddle the pirate.
I did,
hey, that's me.
Epic did watch me reset these books. Look at that.
That just happened. That just, I don't know if it happened on camera or not.
I don't know, because this was kind of in the way. So I'll move it. I put it up there because I thought they might want to play with it. But I reset those books twice when we were on BRB and lined them up. I even asked Epic if they looked straight.
Yeah, they were. And now the bottom two, because I was like, the bottom two are a little bit off, and now it's off again.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if that happened before we came back.
I don't know, but I haven't. All I did was straighten them, and then I haven't touched them. I just happened to look and see.
That's funny.
I did fix the peens too. So the peens, this one is not as straight as it was.
Yeah. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's slow to go, slow
Yep.
moving. By the way, guys, if you just came in or if you weren't here earlier, we started off with growing up with the paranormal. Both of us living in haunted houses, paranormal experiences, family experiences, stuff like that. We moved on and we broadened our horizons, not just from our personal growing up spaces, but to haunted locations in general and kind of talking with them, of course, chatting with you guys about them as well. And now we're moving on kind of just to a little bit more general paranormal. We're just going to kind of continue the conversation a little bit free. I think everything today is going to be paranormal. So the next 40 minutes is going to be, the last 40 can be whatever. It doesn't have to be paranormal, but
Yeah.
this next section will be mostly paranormal. So yeah. And by the way, guys, if you ever want to talk paranormal, anything like that, you can hop in my Discord. I have a whole section on the paranormal. People don't post in there as often as I'd expect, but feel free to go in there, post your paranormal stories. If you find a cool paranormal news article, if you find, cool paranormal pictures, or you see something online, you follow it, feel free to go ahead and post it in there, along with everything else we do, whether it's pets, gardening, cooking, food, video games. We have a whole slew of interests that we do here. So feel free to go on in there. I need to put that video I sent you in there. Yeah. I just hate how the person uploaded it. Yeah, well, you can still post it. Miso Thorny's got a personal video from the family that she
Oh yeah, that would be kind of cool to see.
that she posted, she sent, and we shared that on our new show. And if you're enjoying the paranormal, if you're here because it's like, hey, paranormal is cool, I went and this was a whole month of paranormal. So in our video on demand, you can find my very rare news and stories of the paranormal. It was the second time I've done that show where I literally read news articles and stories, and it's just kind of fun and whimsical. And maybe I'll make fun of things, maybe I'll keep it serious, I'll throw my own 10 cents in it. I really enjoy doing that show, but I don't want it. It's not a reoccurring show. I just, it's for fun, special events, special occasions. So, and the original one I did for Halloween last year, and you can find that episode on my YouTube channel. You can find the full episode from last Halloween on there as well. So, and of course, any of the podcasts I did with any of the paranormal guests, whether it's Amelia Cotter, Dave Schrader, Tim Dennis, and the Beer City Bruiser, all of those guys with their toes in the paranormal realm, you can find all those on YouTube as well. So
Octavius taught me something I didn't know about. The book about The Shining didn't have the hedge maze. It had topiaries, and the hedge maze was added in the movie.
oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I mean, he is the second
He's the Stephen
second
King
most
expert,
well-versed Stephen King person I know, next to Zhao.
Yes. Well, I think Zhao only knows about Stephen King because of Octavius.
No. Zhao is a professional Stephen King researcher. Everything Zhao says about Stephen King is fact. Isn't that his job? He's like the expert on Stephen King, and then Oct is just a big fan. Isn't that?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly how it is. I was wondering if I should reset the book so they can keep messing with them. You're fired.
I'm fired.
You're fired.
Taverus is fired. Oh
my goodness. The topiary creatures move, and that's so much more scary than the maze. Yeah. I mean, the maze isn't even that tall. The maze is only like 4 feet tall. It's shorter than I am, but not quite as, it's still taller than Miso. So.
Still tall. Did you say taller than Miso?
Yeah.
Or did you mean still taller than me? So.
No, it's shorter than me, taller than Miso.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Miso knows what I was talking about. I did tell them that if they wanted to mess with the eggs too behind me, they could, because they seem to be just like right.
Yeah, they can only see like the ones right above your left. We can only see the ones right above your left shoulder.
So you can mess with these ones right here.
Yeah, the ones on the side there.
Because I can see all of these here, but
yeah, but you're cropped. You're cropped.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can see.
Fuck, that's true.
So when it comes to the paranormal, what's something you absolutely, positively don't buy into?
I think all the there's
and
just
don't
so
talk
much
about Blind
out
Frog
there.
Ranch.
No. I won't talk about blind poltergeist because y'all know I don't believe that shit. That shit's fucking ridiculous and so fucking dumb.
It's the best
I don't think that
paranormal
there's
show
a
out there.
lot. There's not a lot that I don't buy into. I've experienced a lot of things in my lifetime. I experienced things revolving around dreams and being in the dream world. I've experienced things like with spirits and entities. I've experienced alien stuff. So I am an experiencer and a believer in a lot of things. There's not much that makes me go, that's probably not a thing. A lot of the stuff that I like doubt are like some of the videos that people post. I'm like, but there's so much that could be explained with some of these things. Like, are they edited? So I think we did something on Octavius's Octavius's occulting with Octavius,
Okay.
where we like looked at videos that people had of paranormal experiences and like went through and tried to debunk all of them if we could. I just think a lot of people want to like hype up and get their hands into the paranormal world, and so they'll present a lot of things that to get people to buy into them and buy into views, and a lot of it can just be edited, right? So
Right.
I feel like there's a whole lot you have to do to convince me if you're showing me a video of something. I'm a little bit more skeptical when I just am like, didn't I just fall over though?
Right.
Did all those chairs, especially like when it comes to a lot of things moving at one time, did all those chairs really move? That's a lot of energy to have everything fly open, right?
Right.
At one time and just be shooting everywhere. And so it's like, a lot of that stuff. I'm just like, how, like, a lot of those things where everything is moving at once. I'm a little bit skeptical on, but things like my books, like they move just a little bit and no one's touching them. Obviously, there's things out there that are doing stuff. So I don't really have a lot that I'm like, some of the methods maybe that are being used today. Oh, you are moving me around. I was like, what is happening?
Yep. I'm adjusting you so that people can see a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I happened to glance over at my Zoom thing because I could see things a little bit bigger because I was like, did her D&D books move? And I glanced over at your Zoom and I was like, no, but that necklace sure moved, but it was off camera. It was off cropping. It wasn't in the cropping. And I was like, no, it wasn't on there. It wasn't on there. God dang it, nobody saw it but me.
Yeah. You can move that more if you want. But yeah, so some of the methods that they use, I think because I haven't used the methods myself. I'm like, can they really not hear you though? Right? Like the Estes method. And I know there's a lot of people that use it, but you're just like blindfolded and you have a headset on, and how like how noise canceling are those headsets, right? Like, so there are some methods that I am not really entirely sure of. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot that I'm just like, is there anything that you don't buy into?
There are certain cryptids that I'm like, I don't know, or like specific stories that sometimes I'm like, I don't buy that. There's a lot of like kind of tinfoil hat stuff that it's just like, I don't know, but I also still like, I do believe in a lot of stuff because I've experienced so much and I've heard so many stories of personal accounts that match other people's that don't know them.
Right.
Like an individual, like people that I've talked to, I've gone to events or whatever, you'll listen to a show at something and they'll talk about something and then you'll hear somebody somewhere else in real life talk about a similar experience. It's like, whoa, that's weird. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't jive with some of that. So it's like, okay, those kinds of things totally make sense. Miso says a lot of cryptids are tall tales, misidentified animals. Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Yeah, I could see that too. And people's imaginations are insane. Yeah, that's that's why like you said, the ghost behind you said, small things that make you question your sanity, right?
Yeah.
Like my example are the books. I swear I straightened them, right? Did I straighten them? Do I remember doing that? Do I remember my key? I remember my key being in a spot and it's not where I remember it being. Did I move it? Did they move it?
Right.
Like, there are still like little things like that. Like I know I just saw this thing, but now it's not here anymore. Where did it go? So there are definitely little things
Yeah.
that could just be your imagination for sure. But
Even like crime witness eyewitnesses, eyewitness accounts
Mm-hmm.
can be wrong. Can be like they can have an eyewitness can say one thing and the video footage shows that that's not at all what happened. Because the mind, that's one of the things I talk about when we talk about dreams and analyzing dreams. The longer ago that a dream was, the less accurate you can translate it. And because our minds rearrange the events or overthink it, when you do it immediately, because you can take into account your feelings, because a dream is a lot about feelings more so than just what you visually see in the dream, and it's about what you know in a dream. So like I always say, if you have a dream and you're talking to your grandpa and your grandpa's a turtle, and you're like, I'm talking to this turtle who's my grandpa, and then 3 days later it's like, well, it wasn't my grandpa, it was a freaking turtle, and then eventually that dream changes. Well, then the meaning is lost, because the fact that it was your grandpa, you knew in the moment that that's who it was, even though it didn't look like them, didn't feel like them. So that changes the dream translation right then and there, because of how you feel and what you're doing and what kind of a dream it is. And that works in so many different ways for experiencing things too, like you say, eyewitnesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why they tell you, like, if you're ever being like in a robbery, like try to remember as much as you can in that very short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of your brain is meant to protect you, right? So
and filling in the blanks.
Right? Sometimes, especially if you've dealt with a lot of trauma in your life, if there's room for interpretation, your brain is going to write that story with the knowledge it already has and the memories and the experiences your brain already has. So if something's left open, then your brain is going to go, right? Like that's why people are like, if someone doesn't talk to you for a while, this is my experience as someone who hasn't talked to me before. And then you may start to go in like a panic. Oh no, what happened? What did I do wrong? Why aren't they talking to me? Because that's what your brain remembers and that's how your brain processes the information.
Yeah.
So
hello, Mr. Man.
Hi,
Man says hello to you, Bentley.
Hello.
Goes behind you, says, when we stayed in New Jersey, we had 2 cranes land on our cabin roof, and hearing those things move up there sounds like the Jersey Devil's hoods, and they have a weird eye shine. So cryptids are a fun idea, but I need proof. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of cryptids I need proof of. There's some fun experiences. There's like I love hearing about cryptids. I don't think I want to go hunting Bigfoot anytime soon anywhere. And I love how there's like every area has a different variation of Bigfoot and has all the way back through ancient times. And they're all described a little bit differently in certain regions, which I think is cool because it's like different species of bird, right?
Yeah.
But then you get things like the Jersey Devil or the chupacabra, stuff like that. It's like, is a chupacabra this monster, or is it really just like a dog with mange?
Yeah. It could be a lot of things, right? There's so much stuff.
Love the Skinwalker Ranch, Mr. Man.
Yeah, we love this. We love the Skinwalker Ranch. We talked a lot about the Skinwalker Ranch on Occulting with Octavius. And there's been a few experiences that I've shared there. We talked a little bit about that time slip stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about more on Occulting with Octavius here.
We need more Occulting with Octavius, damn it. Yes. I want more occulting.
So if you like paranormal stuff, Occulting with Octavius, he talks a lot about like aliens and that side of the paranormal things. And we've talked about dreams and ghosts and stuff over there too. So there's a lot. There's so much there's so much range to the paranormal worlds and dealing with entities and things like that. And something you talked about was like dreams and dream interpretation. And I've had a lot, like I said, I've had a lot more with my dreams here, whereas like I've had, where in my dream, I had someone in my dream. This happened 2 different times. They pretended, 3 different times. They pretended to be somebody I knew. One of them, 2 of my dreams, they pretended to be Octavius. And he was meeting me at an airport, which is not unusual, right? Like if I were to go to meet Octavius somewhere, I'd probably have to fly to visit him. But when I looked up, I was in a UFO. Like I was in a UFO. The ceiling was not that of an airport. It wasn't the thing wasn't really acting like Octavius would. When I realized what was happening, it tried to grab me and keep me, and I woke up with like a bunch of pain in my arm. Oh yeah. We'd have to do it in Discord for DMCA reasons.
Yeah, I was just responding. Mr. Man said we should do
Yeah.
a reacting show to Skinwalker Ranch episodes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'd have to do it. We'd have to do it in Discord for DMCA reasons, unless it's on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. If it's on Amazon Prime, we could try and figure out
I
the
don't
Amazon.
think
thing.
that it is, but we could definitely double check. Octavius might know where.
But if there
what it's
are
on.
paranormal shows on Amazon and you guys have Amazon, we could totally do like a watch along thing
Yeah.
on live on Twitch, because they do have that integration thing.
Excuse me.
I've tried it once early on and I couldn't quite figure it out because I have to have it, and then you the viewers you the viewers also have to have it. So to be able to watch in, and so then you can sync up the show with the stream delay of me watching it or something like that.
That's
so
weird.
we can all
That's
watch
weird.
together at the same time. I
didn't
only
even
tried
know
it
you
once
could
a
do
while
that.
ago. I did it with some wrestling stuff way early in streaming. So what is
Yeah.
this podcast called? Like what we're doing right now? What we're doing
So
right now is
this-
called Off the Pod, and it's not
Yeah,
always
this
paranormal.
is off the pod.
Yeah, this is just Off the Pod. And it's not a podcast. Not a podcast.
Not a podcast, but Epic does do a podcast every other Monday. He has a podcast with people much more famous than me.
And that's called Epic Realms. So you just Google search Epic Realms podcast and it'll pop up on every single freaking platform that you want.
Excuse me.
It's not a podcast. It's not a podcast.
There you go. Thanks, Octavius.
Sure,
Thanks for
you
doing
know,
that.
and yeah, that's our
Octavius,
upcoming guests there.
If you're talking about the Octavius podcast, it's Occulting with Octavius.
Occulting with Octavius, which is that on YouTube? Did Occulting with Octavius end up getting put on YouTube, or is
I
it
don't
just...
think it's been put on YouTube yet. No,
Hopefully
I
it
think
got
that's still
downloaded off
on
the bud so they're not lost to the ether.
I think that's still on the to-do list, but I know that he had talked about putting it on YouTube at some point and cutting it, but time being what it is, there hasn't been a lot of that recently, and so
yeah, we need more Occulting with Octavius.
Yeah.
Roddy Mama says they have 5 seasons of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch on Amazon Prime. All right, we'll have to figure out how to do like a watch along stream or something here and there, and then we should maybe pick a couple episodes, because we're not going to watch the whole series, right? But we could pick a couple episodes and have
all the rocket episodes.
all of that. Isn't that every episode?
That is.
So we launched a rocket up into the sky to see what happened, and there's a definite item right there. Is that pretty good? Was it a pretty good impersonation?
That was a pretty good one. Yep. But yeah, so I had that, and then the second one was with Octavius again, and they were trying to get me trying to do some experiments on me through my belly, and I was like, I'm open out of this to try to get away, and then my other
in your dream,
was
in your
more-
dream.
yeah. In my,
I was like,
said in my
on
dream.
an Occulting with Octavius, they were what? Well,
No,
I don't remember this. Was I part
No.
of it?
Yes, you were. Is that a podcast we were all together on? And then the other one was like my mom. They came to me as my mom, and they were in this kitchen here, and it came out, and they started off talking as my mom, and then they started getting really mean and talking to me, not like how my mom would. And when I tried to kick them out, they threw a fit and eventually left. And I woke up thinking I woke up, but I was still in my dream.
Yeah.
And I came back out and everything was flying around. Everything had been like knocked out of the pantries. All the cupboards were open and stuff. And I like screamed at them to leave. And the door, I like opened the door that's right here. And I screamed at them to leave. They left and slammed the door behind them. And then I woke up and I was actually awake, but I like was dreading coming out into my kitchen. I was like, am I actually
Yeah.
am I actually
Am I
awake right
asleep?
now? Am I actually right now?
Yeah, I
So
don't. The reason I say that my dream stuff is a little bit less than what it used to be is
excuse me.
because I don't experience dreams as much as I used to. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't get as much work and practice in on them as possible. But
Right.
after I had a couple of visitations with my mom after she passed away, there was, and these were definitive. I can tell the difference. For me personally, I can always tell the difference between an astral projection, a visitation, and an actual dream. I can always tell the difference when I wake up. I can tell the difference between all of them. There's a different feeling to all of them. I've just had so much different experiences with them, and this one was a little of column B, a little column C, and
Right.
so I was at a location, and the person that used to live with my mom was there, and he in real life he was a two-faced snake, and I knew it. And he was scared. He was scared of me. I didn't know this till my mom explained that he was scared to death of me. So like anytime something happened, she'd ask me to come over or come down and whatever. And he'd behave for like 2 weeks leading up to that. And so
Wow.
he showed up and he was talking about stuff, and he was like acting all nice, and I looked him dead in the eyes because I knew it wasn't him. I just knew in the dream. And he had passed away at this point. He had passed away recently. After my mom, and he just kind of looked me like was looking at me, and I'm like, "You're not you. You don't belong
Yeah.
here. Get out." And he just
Right,
like looked
yeah.
at me and just went and fizzled away. And my mom was there, and then her and I just kind of started chatting and discussing things, and it was all really good, really awesome things that I like needed in the moment, and I looked at her and I was like, I do know this is a dream, but I do know you're here, right? You do realize that I
Yeah.
know that. And she just smiled at me, and then I woke up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like when that happens. So this being here is the first time I've had any dreams like the ones that I described.
Mhm.
I have had where like I've had like precognition or um viewing into something that was happening.
Yeah.
I've had visitations from like my grandpa. I've had visitations from Yoshi. I've had visitations from other people's animals to let me know that they're doing good. But I do remember like when I was pregnant with my oldest, his dad was in a really bad car accident, and I had that car accident was in my dream. I was having the dream of the car accident as it was happening, and I was in his like position.
Yeah.
So I was in the passenger seat. I experienced all the rollovers. I experienced the collision. I experienced like flying about the car because he wasn't wearing his seatbelt properly because it was one of an older car where it automatically did like the cross belt, but you had to do the lap belt yourself. So he didn't have the lap belt on. So I experienced all that. I woke up to a voicemail from his sister telling me that he was in a really bad car accident. And I was like, oh, I just had that dream. And then I've had two other dreams where I had somebody I knew like tell me that they were going to get married and tell me that they were going to be a dad. And then a mutual friend would call me and tell me the next day, hey, this person is getting married. Hey, this person just found out they're going to be having a baby. And so I was like, oh, I had a feeling. I just
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah. You knew.
So it's been interesting.
And hello, Docabera.
Hi,
Welcome on in.
Docabera.
I was on Docabera and
Maybe it was
Miso
real Bentley
Thorny's.
and they brainwashed you. That could have been it.
I was on Docabera and Miso Thorny's podcast this weekend for the AIM charity, which if you guys want to donate to that charity, you can find the link down in the panels, or you can do !donate for youth and mental health. The donations are still open. And if you want to see the first episode of that, you can go there. And
Either death or mutilation, pretty much. And there's even some variations where if you say yes, yes, you're beautiful.
Speaking of, there's the one with
face,
Octavius, Thick and
yes,
Spooky
again,
Ghouls earlier,
she'll let you
talking the
live,
Wearing his
paranormal.
Skinwalker Ranch
goes back to your house and
jacket.
kills you anyway.
Look at that.
And then in some other versions, again.
Very good. I mean, it's not a clip from me, but that's okay. And then here's an episode with did anybody clip me last night on this weekend? I'm gotta go back and I'll just clip it myself.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
No fucking way.
No fucking way. What do you
My
mean,
guy
no
moved
fucking way?
in. Can you fucking believe it?
So those
I
two,
just threw
they do
it
an
all the
amazing job. They
fucking
do the
way
Thick and
over
Spooky
there.
Ghouls podcast. It's all
No
paranormal, cryptids,
fucking
all of that kind of
way.
spooky stuff. So
Oh my
definitely go and
fucking
check
God,
them
I'm
out. Make sure
so
to give them a
mad at myself
follow.
right now.
And that's once a month that
Oh
they do
my
that. And hopefully they,
God.
do more.
No.
But we talked all kinds of things this weekend. It was all creepy children this weekend, including the black-eyed kids. Was my topic to talk about. So it was a lot of fun stuff. So go and check it out. Go and check it out.
Miso says, okay, so I will say I haven't experienced ghosts, but I don't know how to explain it because I don't want to say predicted or anything. Weird coincidence that freaked out those around me, or I'll say something and boom. Boom. Boom.
Boom.
There it is.
Check out your DM, babe. That's Miso. Miso, check out your
Check out
DMs.
your DMs.
Daku slipping
I've
into your
sent you a
DMs
few.
again, which
I've sent
makes
you
sense.
a few
Makes sense.
things.
So many
myself.
swear. Sorry, I am a sailor. You only said that you dropped a couple f-bombs.
Yes. I know I've talked about this on Octavius's a little bit, where I've had like an experience where I was on the phone with my mom and my son, and they were walking together, and they were actually walking together like this really happened. And I said, "Oh, I see you." And they like came around the corner, and they were like, "What do you mean? We don't see you at all." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right there walking with your groceries. Like I could see you. Let me come help you." And they're like, "We didn't turn a corner." And I was like, "Yeah, I can see you right now coming around this corner." And then like 20 seconds later, they actually came around the same corner. So I don't know what exactly that was, but I saw them coming around the corner before they had even reached the corner. I saw them come around.
Interesting.
So that's been
I find
that was a
I don't
fun
know a lot
experience.
about time slip phenomena, but I love hearing about time slip phenomena. And like people that like they go into a hotel and they're like, "Oh, this is a really cool hotel. It's super old timey," and they're talking with people, and everybody was all dressed up for it, and people were kind of looking at them funny, but they were just like they thought that it was just they were acting in character, and then they go outside, and then they turn around and they look in and they realize it's an abandoned building.
I've heard so that there's been some experiences like that on the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
Where there's been some workers there that have had some time slips. And one of the ones I was just listening to, he said that it was like one of his last days there. And he was like on the bow basically. And he just had this moment in time where a bunch of things happened at the same time. And he experienced this phenomenon all at the same time. So he experienced like it was snowing on the deck. He was freezing cold because he wasn't dressed for it. He experienced people getting ready to like pull up anchor and getting ready to leave the ship. He saw like people pushing the cook into the fire, and he saw all these things. They all happened to him at one time. And so these are really things. A Bentley pod. Hi, tabletop. How's it going?
Hazards.
Hello. Welcome in, by the way.
Hello.
So I think it's a very interesting thing, and I really hope we get to touch more on it at some point on occulting with Octavius. I think that would be a fun little subject to dive into and talk about more.
Yeah, you hear that, Octavius? We need more occulting.
I'll talk of it to it at one point. I'm sure. I'm doing good. We're finishing up talking about the paranormal and sharing paranormal experiences. So if you have any you'd like to share, feel free. We talked about growing up with the paranormal like haunted places, and then just a broad range of the paranormal stuff. And so, yeah, there's definitely places that are like more negative energies and things like that too. So
right.
there's a reason why you don't want to go where you don't want to go.
Yeah, for sure. And we both had been having some fun little issues tonight.
Yes, we
How are your
both
D&D
have.
books? Are they crooked again?
You can see them. They look okay to me.
Yeah, they look okay here too.
Yeah.
It's hard because
They
the
don't look
angle
like
of the
they
camera
changed.
and the way that the lens
Yeah.
is that I'm like, I have to pull up a thing on the side to look really closely, and then it's like, can't really quite
Yeah,
tell.
they look okay to me. The pins really haven't moved, but there is something happening right here. I can see you. I can see you. I told them my phone is on the charger, so if they want to borrow some energy to keep moving things around, they can.
But just
For now, anyway.
But just for now.
Yep, just for now. Yeah, that's why I said for now anyway, until we're
Oh,
done
tabletop.
being on video games.
Growing up in my house,
Video games.
everything used to move by itself. Tell us.
Oh, tell us about
the
that.
stories. That's what we were. That's how we
were-
started off the show today. We started off the show talking about
Yeah.
us growing up in paranormal houses and haunted houses and locations that had creepy shit that happened all the time in them. So
Yeah, my daughter has always lived on the second floor. My youngest Nugget, we've always been on the second floor throughout her whole life, and both homes that we've lived in. And she will look out the window. She used to do this a lot when she was younger at the old place and say, "You're not allowed to come in here." I didn't have to teach her that. She already knew. But I'm like, we're on the second floor. Who are you talking to right now?
Who are you telling
Like,
isn't allowed to
that's
come
not
in here?
okay. Yeah. But thank you for telling them that they can't come in here, but who and why? And so she would see a lot and do a lot of those things. And then Bowser doesn't really do it very much here. It's very few and far between. But at the old place, he would walk into the empty bathroom, nobody in it. He'd walk in there, stay in there, look at the closet door. Sometimes he would bark at it, and I'm like, "What are you barking at?" But it's the same door that Nugget has seen that said that she's seen a hand come out of that door and then go back into it. So she's experienced a lot.
Well, we're more
Here-
open to it as kids, right? When we're younger,
Yeah.
we're more open to it and can see things and understand things. And then a lot of times you get the adults that are like, "Oh, that didn't happen," and
That
"No,
didn't
you're just
happen."
imagining thing," or "Your
Yeah.
imaginary friend," and that eventually gets blocked off or turned off.
Yeah,
Instead of
eventually.
nurtured, so.
But with her, I've tried not to. She's kind of turned it off and on by herself. There was a long time that she had an imaginary friend that protected her from bullies and evil imaginary friends that were mean to her.
Yeah.
And so and then that came around like our first year of moving here. And then after a little while, eventually the imaginary friend kind of went away, but she was able to draw pictures of this friend, and she had a name, and she wasn't allowed to talk about this friend to a lot of people. Otherwise, the friend would go away. So I was a trusted confidant in it.
Yeah,
But she has
which is
seen
awesome.
like, yeah, she's seen like faces. She's seen skulls. Like I said the other day, she smelled lavender, which we don't have anything lavender scented in the house. She's seen a little girl in a rocking chair, which Nugget does not have a rocking chair. She has a computer chair, but not a rocking chair. So she's seen that in there. And so for me, I feel like, there's places and people who are very kind of like lighthouses or beacons to
the
like
paranormal.
ghosts and to the paranormal. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they just kind of find their way and try to communicate with them the best that they know how. And I think Nugget's just a little bit too young to be able to necessarily say what they're thinking or what they're doing or trying to like establish that communication. But
Yeah.
I think one day she'll get there. She's starting to get more into it. She just got herself a little, for her birthday, she's given a Ouija board blanket and she's all about it. She takes that everywhere she goes. And
Nice. And you and I chatted
yeah.
about some of that stuff off camera,
Yeah, we
off
did.
stream. So
You did.
make sure that you guys do your education, get taught how to do things. I know I gave Bentley a
Yes.
bunch of resources for things, especially if you have
Mhm.
kids that are sensitive or can see things. Go to somebody who does it professionally, people that have been doing it for years, super experienced people. And if you want advice, or if you want to know where to go, where to get taught how to do these things, and how to learn, reach out to me and I can send you some links on the side as well. And I
Yeah.
know there are people that do stuff with Ouija boards that'll teach you how to do them, how to open them, close them professionally,
Properly, yeah.
properly the right way. So
That's really important, is knowing if you're going to mess with anything,
especially with the Ouija board. Yeah.
especially with the Ouija board, knowing how to open and close your sessions is very important.
Yeah. And knowing how
Tabletop Hazard said, we called the ghost Steve. One time Steve randomly cut one of my friend's paper plate into a triangle. Really tripped him out for a few. Steve was very social. He loved other people. He was probably feeding off the energy, to be honest.
was Steve like a just a positive entity being that just was like, hey, that's cool, chill, or was it, mixed vibes? It sounds like he was just like, hey, I just want to hang out and do party
Yeah.
tricks.
I just wanna laugh around and have a good time.
Yeah.
Which is a thing too. And then and then I personally believe that we all have, like, we call them like our guardian angels or
Yeah.
whatever, but we all have like our
Guardian
guardians.
guardian angels, guardian
Yeah.
animals, spirit animals.
Yeah, something that's around us all the time to protect us from certain things. I know that that's coming. There's a few times that in my life I definitely should not be here today, and if it wasn't for like not locking the door properly so people were able to get in, or not hitting my brakes, if I would not have hit my brakes at the time I hit my brakes, we definitely wouldn't be here. And it's not because of anything I knew was coming. So he said, Tabletop said one time he chased off wolves that were in a yard. Steve is very positive and protective. That's
Nice.
amazing.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's awesome.
The number 46 is a spiritual and angelic number.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful
Did you get
symbol of
46
divine
again?
guidance. It has the potential to unlock deep reservoirs of knowledge within an individual, as well as bring harmony and balance to their lives. In numerology, 46 represents creativity, discovery, inner strength, and resilience. Now, I'm not sure if it was like 46, 466. Well, every time a 4 showed up, it was like a 4466 or 46. And then the first time where it was 6666. And then earlier, there was a lot more sixes showing up than the number 4.
Yeah.
But it's only done it once more since I said to stop it.
To leave it alone. Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
So,
Leave it alone.
I even said thank you for not touching my keyboard during
Yeah.
this show.
Right. Like, thank you for leaving it. And yeah, I'll thank my little buddies once we're done here, because they're still able to do their things for now
Right.
until we end. You got 13 minutes. That's it. That's all you get.
13 minutes to touch stuff on Bentley's shelf.
Yeah. 13 minutes to mess with this. Stop messing with Epic's things. So the thing is, we built our house. There shouldn't have been a spirit to begin with. That's been the same experience with me, right? So like when I was younger, the house that I lived in where we have a ghost or an entity, that was a freshly built house. We had it made on a new, fresh plot. As far as we know, there's nothing that was buried under there. There was nothing that happened in the area where we built in. And so, but we still managed to have an entity that hangs out there and has his little home in the corner. And, he does his things, he messes with stuff.
Here's something I want to say about that for tabletop. Just it's not common for, an entity to exist in a house that's new because of it being new. However, if you go to an estate sale, a garage sale, a antique store, even if you don't buy anything,
Bring it back with
something
you.
can come back with you.
Yeah.
If you see something, or if you do buy something, like I have an item that is here in my house that I bought in an estate sale. As soon as I wanted it, it was really cool. And the moment I picked it up, I was like, yeah, there's something with this, I think. And so I got it anyhow, and I brought it home because I wasn't like freaked out by it, but it's still here. And I had a couple other friends that have said that they are sensitive, and they're like, oh yeah. And basically the thing that they said, because I didn't say anything to them. Like, I just pointed it out to them, and they said the same, you know, a couple of them said the same thing that I said. Now, some of them said the same thing that the others said while they heard the other ones all say it.
Right. Yeah.
But at least one of them, was
knew.
not given any information other than, hey, check this item out, while we were talking about things that are paranormal or whatnot. And they basically confirmed all the same things I kind of got the gist off of. So you can bring things into your house. And every once in a while, I wonder if things that happen because of that. We've had some strange, we got a new Bluetooth air filter in our room down there. And every once in a while, like, I was outside with the chickens and the dog was outside and we weren't there. And all of a sudden our air filtration just spiked for no reason and then dropped back down over the course of like 15-20 minutes. And I was like, I'm not in the house. There's nothing there. Like, our heaters are turned off. Everything's turned off. There is no reason for a random spike. And I'm like, maybe that's it. Oh, by the way, guys, this is where I bought a thing. It's a holder for tobacco pipes.
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
And it's got a little canister, a little antique canister to hold tobacco. And I actually have 2 of the pipes also from that estate sale, and it's an estate sale from someone who had just recently passed. And they had shelves of tobacco stuff, and this was their main display piece for their pipes. So, and they literally there were hundreds and hundreds of antique canisters of tobacco, and you knew that they had like started to throw like the more modern stuff they got rid of, but they were collecting it as they were using it. So this was like a prominent thing in their life, which is why I'm like, there's some sort of
some attachment to it.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I'm wondering if like maybe that's why the air filtration filter has random spikes for no reason whatsoever, and that's like a manifestation of some sort.
They're smoking that tobacco.
So, but I can't smell. I go in there, I can't smell tobacco or anything, so I don't know. But it's usually random times, and it does trigger, like, if we cook upstairs, like 15 minutes later, it might spike a little bit. Or if the dog really freaks out and the doors are open and the allergens outside are really big and he shakes next to it, it'll spike. So, but that particular moment where everything was turned off and we weren't even in the house, I was outside with the chickens and I came back in and I was like, huh, it spiked for 15 minutes.
Like, that's really weird that happened. Yeah, I think our little ghost friend too came from an antique store, because we bought a lot of when my great grandmother was around. We would go to like a little antique shop and buy little like outdoor things, and she was the main reason I had a lot of these like music boxes. I was like, I can't even remember the name of them right now. And I still have a music box that she gave me that's sitting up above my sink right now. But so it probably came in with something from the antique shop that she probably gave me when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember him being around from the beginning. I only remember him being around after a couple years of us being there. And so eventually he just showed up.
Redneck says, I don't know if this is precognition, but like there's a lot of times there's like something that supposed to happen. Oh, chat moved it. A certain day, and I'm really excited about something I've planned to do with friends, and for some reason I can tell whether the thing is going to happen or not. I just like have a positive or negative feeling. Oh, so like you have plans to do something, and then you're like, yeah, there's something weird about this, and then like the next day they cancel. Yeah, that can be a form of it. There's little things like that. You have to pay attention to those, and even sometimes journal about them and keep track of them, and remember how you were feeling, how your emotions were that day, and just there's a whole slew of things that kind of coincide with that, and it's really hard to kind of track and check. But yeah, it totally could be. You want to read tabletops?
Yeah, I still live in that house. Haven't seen evidence of Steve since I turned 20. Though my daughter swears my dad is still watching over her when she comes over. So maybe my dad became new Steve. Interesting.
Maybe.
That's a possibility. I think okay, that was just
haven't seen Steve since you turned 20. That tells me it's a little bit more poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, the I forget the group. It's the something for cyclical research. Has done a lot of research on poltergeist activity, and somebody can go look that up for me. Something cyclical research, and they
Something. Hey Siri, what's the something of cyclical research? Oh, she didn't even come on.
Is your battery all drained? It's sitting on the charger and it's like
I
completely
was
dead.
sitting on the charger. That's why I was wondering if it was being used.
But yeah, so they did a study and it turns out that they realized that almost every story of poltergeist activity can be tied to a family member in the household who is at adolescent, like teenager development age, from the ages of 13 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with the stresses of that, certain brain development at that age, certain stresses of life and experiences, and those things, because they've experienced that even if the kids leave, the incidences can happen and also can follow them. And it was a very interesting study that they're all tied to kids, and every time that like they move permanently, either it follows them or they grow up, and by the time they hit a certain age, it just dies, and there's no other experiences there. And I honestly think that the house that I talked about with the cat, I think that probably 50% of the experiences there were actually like my own poltergeist activity because of me, because that was a really difficult time for me, mental health wise, and like spiritually, and just all kinds of personal stuff. And I want to full discrepancy. I was fighting with my mom left and right, tooth and nail at that time, constantly, like screaming matches.
Oh wow, yeah.
So we did not get along. We were not even close to best friends at that time. To the point where I was ready to run out. There was a lot of battles at that time, and it was really difficult. So I think a lot of that was my own stuff. So
yeah, I think that's one of the things that I want to study up on more, is because Nugget is getting into that age where she's about to be that age, right? And she has so much tie into the paranormal realms that I'm like, oh, what do we have in store for us as we get older and can't don't have the ability to deal with that properly, so I'm slowly preparing ourselves over time to be ready to handle anything that might be coming our way.
yeah, but I have a feeling that you guys have a strong foundation, and about that, you're open to talk about that, but also mental health, and being open and talking about mental health and how to develop that, and how to be open and feel safe to talk to you about things, and all that kind of stuff is like, that's healthy relationship communication with kids. So they don't have to worry about like hiding something from you because
I'm the cool mom.
I mean, you're cool for sure.
Hey, I pulled both my nuggets, and both my nuggets said I was cool. Except for the youngest nugget, she said I was cool, but with the exception of when I say weird things.
Because you're an adult, so you say, you're like, yeah, Avril Lavigne and Britney Spears, they're cool young musicians. What are you talking about, Mom?
Is that?
I don't even know who Britney Spears is. Who's Britney Spears? Is that a wrestler?
Is that a wrestler?
Oh, excuse me. I'd love to communicate with my mama. What's that?
I was just reading Red's comment. Sorry. I saw my name, so I immediately was drawn to it.
Also a hot mom. Yeah. I'd love to communicate with my mom. That's something else that makes me skeptical, is she was a bitch and she'd definitely be harassing me. No, she wouldn't. No,
that's not necessarily true.
That is not how the afterlife works.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's not necessarily true. Just because they were that way in the physical realm, that doesn't mean that's how they're going to be in the spiritual realm, right? My dad, he came very close to being, he's a heart transplant patient, and in the hospital, like his experiences that he dealt with, and this is something that I don't share very often, but he experienced like his version of whatever heaven is was working for him. He was like, he got mad at me one time because I woke him up. I pulled him out of wherever he was going, and he was really happy there, and he was working all the time, and he was back at his job. And so just because like, and in real life, my dad and I didn't get along for a really long time. So just because like we didn't get along doesn't mean that's what would be the result of it. Obviously, he probably would not have shown up. He would have stayed working, and that's where he would have been stuck.
Yeah.
For a long time, until he decided in the afterlife he didn't want to work anymore. But one thing that I haven't shared with anybody is that was a very trying time, right? We went through a lot. And there was one time I just happened to be looking down. They rolled him out of the room to go take him in to do whatever operation, whatever procedure they were doing at the time. And I am not a super religious person. But directly underneath his bed in the floor was a cross.
Okay.
And a perfect cross. They even cleaned it. They cleaned out the entire room. They like bleached the floors, everything else. They mopped it, and it was still there when they were done.
Wow.
And so like, I would never have known that if they had not moved his bed, but he had so many problems that they almost sent him home on just medication. Obviously, he needed to be on a machine for a very long time. He needed a heart transplant. They almost sent him home on medication. There's so many things that he almost wasn't around for or almost left for that I was like, oh, this is why. Like, that was one of the few religious times for me where I was like, this is what's protecting my dad right now, is this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Dang, this is a long one. What do you mean?
This isn't off the pod. It's an off
What do
the
you
pod.
mean?
Off the pod.
What do you mean? It's I'm always on top of long ones.
Oh. Wow.
Mm-hmm,
Wow. Wow.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have definite
Okay.
feelings about the afterlife and what happens
Your
afterwards.
time is up. Sorry.
I definitely have feelings about what happens after the fact, when you pass, what happens spiritually. I definitely have opinions and feelings on those from a handful of different experiences that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, I feel like everybody has their own experiences too when it comes to that, right? Like my dad's experience was he wanted to go back to work, and that's what was there for him when he wanted to go back. My grandpa, when he passed away, he said, "You'll know I'm in heaven when you hear a bell ring." And it hit the limits right after he took his last breath. The phone rang in his hospital room.
Was somebody there?
You know,
or did it just ring on its own?
there was nobody there; it just rang on its own.
Nice.
They answered it, and there was nobody there. And so it was like, there's different little things like, I remember this one time, one of my closest friends when I was younger, her grandfather passed away, and they had this cactus that it was supposed to grow flowers. It wasn't doing very well. They tried everything they could do to like make it grow and everything else. And I was like, oh, here's like this cactus, like soil that I don't use. I just happen to have it for whatever reason. He passed away. They replanted it in that soil, and the flowers grew in the shape of a heart.
Oh, wow.
So everybody has their different things that they get from the beyond and different things that they experience. Like there's been stories of people who they've gone to hell, according to them, and people who have gone to heaven, but different versions of heaven, right? Everybody sees something different.
Yep.
So
I have theories on all of that. I have theories on all of that. We'll have to talk about it sometime.
Yes, I would love to.
On an off the Bentleigh.
And off the Bentleigh.
Or occulting with Octavius if he's still here.
Yes. I'm sure he's around. I think he had to work
I think
tonight.
so too. I think he's listening in as he can while he's working.
Yeah.
So.
Gotta go. Battery dying. Gotta charge it while I drive. Have fun. Thanks for popping in,
Thanks for being here,
tabletop. I
Tabletop Hazards.
appreciate
Appreciate you. Take care.
I appreciate you.
I'd never get off the Bentley. As soon as I said it, I was like,
off
"Oh,
the
Red's gonna
Bentley.
say
Oh
something."
my god. Yeah.
As soon as I
But
said
Ride
that.
and Sunstrider got my back. Amazing. I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, guys. Make sure to go and follow Bentleigh13. She's gonna be live tomorrow doing some co-streaming with Real Care. And
Let's
think
go.
that's
Let's go.
did.
Let's
It-
go.
wow.
She
Oh, the
did.
old being old. That's saying like, yeah, I'm not gonna call you a boomer. I'm not saying boom. I'm not. She's like the guy from Ancient Aliens. I'm not saying you're a boomer, but you're a boomer. That's what it was.
It's okay. It's okay, Super. You can make fun of his age here. It's fine. He's not.
everybody else does. Everybody else does.
Yep. Everybody else does.
So guys, go and make sure you give Bentley a follow. Go and check that out. She's going to be doing some Daylight tomorrow with Real Care. Some Drunk by Deadlight on Booze Day with Bay tomorrow evening. And then maybe a surprise stream later on like Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how the week goes. So definitely go Go ahead. Make sure to make a follow. Do a follow. Follow the Bentley.
Make a follow, be a follow.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. Go on
Fine.
over there. You can
I do all
always
of it.
see Octavius over there as well, or at least hear his ominous voice in the background complaining about something.
Yes.
Complaining.
He always hates it there, but it's fine. He doesn't have a choice. He's contracted in to be on my streams.
So
That's Castak.
So yes, indeed. And if you guys are a Bentleigh13 followers already, I want to remind you all that community game night will be over here this Sunday because Bentley and Octavius won't be available. So I will be filling in for community game day on Sunday. That's going to be about noon Central
Yes.
is the time. I know that's a little later than Bentley usually starts, but I'm going to be doing a noon Central over here. And I think I'll do Party Animals because you guys just did Cartrider Drift last weekend.
Mhm.
And that way Bentley doesn't ever have to play Party Animals on her stream.
I'll play it eventually.
For
play it eventually.
for community day. So
I just have to be in good health to play it. I just have to be in good health to play it.
good hell.
I have to have the spoons.
Right?
Yep.
For sure. For sure. So
Nice.
guys, thank you so much for being here. We're gonna raid on out. I will be back tomorrow playing Only Human. We're gonna be playing
Yes.
Only Human tomorrow, which is kind of like a cross between like Fallout meets Valheim, raised by Call of Duty, and a little bit of Elden Ring, I guess. So
You definitely won't be playing golfing with friends.
I definitely will not be playing Golfing with Friends. No, because I had the game and then they didn't play it that weekend, so I returned it. So
Whatever.
I don't. So yeah, no Golfing with Friends. It'll be Party Animals on Sunday for community game night. And tomorrow, if you guys are interested in the beta for the game, I'm going to be giving away a couple codes for beta so you guys can play it as well. So we're going to raid on out. Where are we going to raid, Bentley? Do you have an idea? I've got a couple ideas.
I have a couple ideas too, but you can go wherever you like.
Well, I was looking for something kind of paranormally, and there were two people that were
Let's
playing
see.
Phasmophobia, but I don't see them anymore.
Let me refresh because it's been a hot minute since I've refreshed my stream
know what?
here.
You know what? I know where we're going to go. I know where we're going to go.
You know where we're gonna go?
Yeah, I
Okay,
know where
good.
we're
Then
gonna
I
go.
don't have to go through my.
You don't have to
list
go
of
through your
people.
thing. Guys, we just talked about it. Booze Day with Bay. Tomorrow, they're going to be playing Drunk by Daylight tomorrow with Real Care, and that's who we're going to raid. We're going to raid Real Care, formerly Real Care Bear. Real Care is doing some Dead by Daylight right now. She's playing Killer. So we're going to go on over there and give a raid. So go ahead, use your raid emotes, my raid emotes, use Bentley's raid emotes. I don't care whose emotes you use. Just make sure to say something, say hello, make your voices
Any of
known.
them.
Represent Bentley and myself over there at Real Care Stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. Take care.
Thanks for
We'll see
joining
you
us
tomorrow.
and sharing.
And have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Bentley.
Bye. Thank you.